There's a new name for Toyota in Lanarkshire.
From one of the UK's biggest names in motor retail.
Macklin Motors Toyota is now open in Hamilton.
We're bringing you everything Toyota backed by first-class service.
So come and view the stunning new Toyota range, all with up to 10 years warranty.
Including the Aygo Cross and the new Yaris Cross compact SUV.
See our great choice of approved used Toyotas.
Our formidable range of commercial vehicles, including the Hilux.
Get expert servicing from our manufacturer-trained technicians.
And specialist advice from our Motability team.
Macklin Motors Toyota is open now.
At Whistlebury Road, Hamilton.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland.
Let's go!
A very happy new year from me, Paul Cooney, to John Hartson and to Barry Ferguson. Good afternoon, guys.
Afternoon, Paul. Happy New Year to yourself.
And to you, John, who'll be smiling at the end of it. Barry, you've got the Rangers team first.
Yeah, they're starting 11 to play against Celtic today. Alan McGregor in goals, a back four of Tavernier, Golston, Davies and Barisic, a midfield three of Kamara and Lundstrom and Tillman, and a front three of Sakala, Morelos and Kent.
What do you make of it? Strong team?
Yeah, probably one surprise for me. I thought Ryan Jack maybe have started in the midfield three to make them more solid and compact, but he's went with Tillman in there, and it looks to me if Sakala will play on the right hand side. So that was maybe one position that probably surprised me, Paul. But listen, looking at the Rangers starting 11, it is still a strong 11. Rangers are at home, and they need to stamp their authority on the game early doors. They need to try and take the game to Celtic, because they're coming up against a very good team who are in real good form since coming back off the World Cup break. So it's a massive test for Rangers today.
Cold morning in Glasgow, crisp, great day for football. Two legends with us, Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. John, for Celtic, 9 points clear, and a surprise or two in the team today.
Yeah, a couple of surprises for me, Paul. The biggest one for me is Alistair Johnson starting. He's obviously come in and made an immediate impact, because obviously Ange has gone with him today ahead of Juranovic, and I possibly thought Hatate might stay at right back and he would continue to go with Moy in the centre of midfield with McGregor and O'Reilly, but no, he's gone with Alistair Johnson. The team to start is Hart in goal, a back four of Johnson, Alistair Johnson right back, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Taylor, and then the three midfield that we saw accustomed to: Hatate, McGregor, O'Reilly in the middle of the park there. And on the right hand side, he's gone with Forrest ahead of Abada. Kyogo is no surprise for me. He's the league's top goal scorer with 14 goals. And he's also gone with Maeda, and I get that one, because Maeda scored a brilliant goal midweek there. You need energy in these games, and I think Maeda, just because of the way that he closes down, the way that he's constantly putting the opposition under pressure, and of course he's a goal threat as well. So it's a strong team, but there's one or two surprises in there. But it's not a criticism, because I feel Ange has made a lot of good decisions. He's got most things correct. But is it interesting when you've got Juranovic on the bench on the back of a fantastic World Cup? Well, he decided to go with Johnson and give him his debut today.
That surprised a lot of people. On the bench then for Celtic, Bain rather than Siegrist, maybe an injury. Giakoumakis, Abada, Moy, Jota, Kobayashi, he's just joined, of course. Kobayashi just in the door. Bernabe, Abilgard and Juranovic, the Croatian number 3 in the world when you look at the World Cup just 2 weeks ago. And on the Rangers bench, McLaughlin, Jack, Cholak, Sands, Wright, Roof, Arfield, King and Devine. Referee today is John Beaton, and the VAR is Willie Collum.
Yes,
for the match. Let's hope that's not what we're talking about. Beautiful. Is this the kind of day you'd like to play in, Barry? Crisp day?
Yeah,
this
listen,
weather?
as long as there was no wind, I was happy. I didn't mind playing on a cold, crisp day or a rainy day. But listen, it's set up. Celtic are the team that are 9 points ahead of Rangers. Rangers know they need to get 3 points today, Paul. I don't think a point's even good enough. So this is Michael Beale's 5th game in charge. 4 good results. In terms of the performances, they could have been better. He's openly admitted that, but this is a test for the players to show Michael Beale that they want to go on the journey. throughout Michael Beale's reign as manager.
4 games, 4 wins for him. What do you make of this Celtic team today? Obviously, a surprise about Johnson. What do you think of the Celtic and Forrest in?
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised. James Forrest has got so much experience in Old Firm games. I mean, Abada for me is one of the danger men for Celtic. But I look at this Celtic team and I look at the midfield three: Callum McGregor, Hatate, and O'Reilly. They're the three that are the driving force in the Celtic team, and that's the reason why I thought maybe Ryan Jack would have started. So Kamara and Lundstrom need to be really disciplined today, in my opinion, Paul, because they're coming up against a midfield three who are fully quality and fully confident. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But I'm a big believer always in the middle of the pitch games are won. So it's a big test for Rangers midfield three today.
Barry gave us his prediction on Friday night, John, on the show. What's your prediction then? You've got the teams. What's the scoreline today after the 90 odd minutes?
No pressure, Paul. No pressure in terms of giving you a prediction. Yeah. But I think Rangers will have to be at their very best today. I think Celtic are so relentless in their work. It's almost like clockwork when you watch Celtic play. The 2 fullbacks get forward. They almost get in line with McGregor and Hatate, and then that allows O'Reilly to go forward. And I just think that Rangers will have to be at their very best. I think today they will have to stop Celtic in terms of the goal threat that they have in Kyogo. I think Ange Postecoglou have shown Rangers a little bit more respect today in terms of Jota is normally fantastic going forward. He's got Maeda in there, who's a better defensive wise for Celtic. And also Forrest will chase back, I think, a little bit better than Abada. So he's gone with Forrest and Maeda rather than Abada and Jota. So I think that's looking at the opposition, which I know Ange does. But it could go either. These are very difficult games, Paul, to call. I think on the back of how Celtic have been playing, I can't see nothing but a Celtic win today.
I think the Celtic win.
I think so.
Barry, you said 2-1 on Friday night.
Yeah, for the simple fact, Rangers need to win the game, Paul.
They have to.
They have to. If they've got any hope of clawing Celtic back, they need to win the game. And I agree with what John says, that they all need to bring their A game today, because they're coming up against a team who play exciting, attractive, fast-flowing football with a lot of energy, and Rangers need to match that energy today. Because you know what you're coming up against, an Ange Postecoglou team, not just good football team, but they've got great levels of fitness, and that's what Rangers need to match. So they're at home, and as I says, they need to try and stamp their authority on the game early doors.
Let's hear from the two managers.
We're at the halfway stage, so I don't know what Celtic's results are going to be in the next 19 games, but you would say how it's been up to now has been fantastic in any season, in any league, but certainly here in Scotland. If a team win 18 out of 19, you'd have to say they've had outstanding form. That is the fact. Ours has not been as strong, hence me being here. But since I've been here, it's been pretty good. What I don't want to do is hold back where we need to get to. I think we'll have feedback. It's the sternest test we can have. After the game, I'll know exactly the job that I have to get Rangers back on top.
If we win and do go 12 points ahead, what does that mean? Does that mean that we can just sort of clock off for the rest of the year and not worry about the game after or the game after that? Will our supporters sit down and say, you know what, maybe we can miss a few fixtures now because we're 12 points? I don't think so. That's not how it works. So for us, nothing changes.
Looking forward, the countdown is on. We're only, 13 minutes past 12. We are 70 minutes away from kick-off. One game off this afternoon, Falkirk against Dunfermline. That huge game in the First Division is off because of the weather. I can only assume because of all the rain there's been, and then probably the ice overnight. But John Hartson, Barry Ferguson have got the car scraped okay this morning. Yeah, everything okay in the estate, Barry, this morning? Was everything all right? No, it was bitterly cold, wasn't it? You've been out for your walk? Yeah.
No, I wasn't out for my walk. I started the car early doors. I noticed when I got up this morning. I was up bright and early because obviously that's a massive game.
Day.
I know how important it is for Rangers. So the car gets started early, defrost the car, and in here, ready to hopefully watch an entertaining game.
He's had his steak pie. John, I take it you have as well. We'll talk about that, but much more importantly, John and Barry's thoughts on this game. 15 minutes away.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland. Let's go!
Paul Cooney, January the 2nd. I'm pleased to be in the company of John Hartson and Barry Ferguson. We're just under 50 minutes away from kick-off. The Glasgow Derby, the Old Firm Derby, call it what you like. It's Rangers against Celtic. Celtic top of the table, defending champions, 9 points clear and 20 goals better off. So this is, as Barry said, Rangers have to win today. And John, will Celtic want it as much as Rangers do? If you know what I mean by that, just the slim margins, just psychologically, what does Ange Postecoglou say to Celtic to say you need to win today?
Go and give us everything, like you give us everything every week. Ange Postecoglou will want every ounce of energy out of these players today, every ounce of desire, every ounce of talent, hard work, and that's what Celtic players give this manager every single game. That's why they've won 18 out of 19 games this season. They're relentless in their work. You saw them beat St Johnstone, 4? They beat Hibs by 4. It's all about Celtic. I think that, Rangers are at home. Yep. They'll be feeling good about themselves in terms of their recent form. He's come in, Michael Beale, they've won 4 out of 4. That's decent form. But for me, Ange will just say, go and play your football. Like he always says, and the players will know what it means to go and play in this game. This derby game is an incredible feeling. It's an honour to play in these games. I was blessed, so was Barry, to play in them and win. And you have to. This game today is all about the supporters. Now I know the 9 points, and Celtic could go 12, and if Rangers cut it back, it comes to 6. But these games you have to win for those fans out there.
Well, somebody who starred many times for Celtic in the 80s is the late, great Frank McGarvey, died yesterday, only 66 years old. 109 goals for Celtic. John, Barry, you knew him as well. And John, you got to know him obviously at your time playing at Celtic, and then afterwards he was such a great character. I remember him fondly, I remember him well. There was always something happening when Frank McGarvey was about, either in the dressing room or on the pitch. You never quite knew what he was going to do. Well,
I met Frank several times when I was playing up here. I'd see him in and around the club, on match days, doing some of the hospitality boxes and going around and telling stories. Like I met a lot of the Lisbon Lions as well at the time. A lot of them were still alive at the time. We've lost several of them now, of course. But yesterday when I heard about Frank, I took to social media straight away, and I was sending my condolences on to his family. He was a great player for Celtic, as you say, Paul, over 100 goals, played in a fantastic team, the likes of Tommy Burns, Charlie Nicholas, these type of players, Frank McAvenny, a good era of at that time. So it's very sad, it's cancer again. That's just absolutely awful. Takes so many good people away from us. It really does. So again, I'd like to send on my thoughts to his family.
And Barry, his last touch of the ball for Celtic, it was the 85 Cup final, the 100 Scottish Cup final, tournament you love. Davy Provan, our own Davy, scored the equaliser with something like 15 minutes to go. They were a goal down to Dundee United. They were going nowhere. And then the last touch of the ball, cross from Roy Aitken, and it was the head of Frank McGarvey. That was it. They sold him the next week.
Yeah, and I've been watching some clips on Sky Sports of him. You cannot respect that amount of goals that he scored. And I think it was only a couple of months ago you seen him on the pitch at Celtic Park. And I mean, cancer, it spreads so quick. It's just a horrible disease. But listen, what a football player. And for me, he done the hardest thing in the game, and that was scoring goals. Who's going to score today in the Old Firm game? Is there any chance it's going to be 0-0? I'm just looking at both of you. Just quick answers. Any chance of 0-0? No, I don't believe. I think Rangers know what they need to do, and also the way that Celtic play. Open, attractive football, the attack. That's the beauty for Rangers. There's not going to be any hidden agenda of what Celtic's going to do. You know what Celtic are going to do. They're going to play. They're going to get in your face. The fullbacks are going to come inside, and they're going to try and get the ball wide. So listen, I think it's going to be a cracker today. Celtic, for me, will come to Ibrox and try and get the 3 points. And on the other hand, Rangers know that if Celtic do that, then it's the title's over for me. So they need to get the 3 points, get it back down to 6 and make a fist of it.
Here's the two lineups if you've just tuned in to the Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors. Rangers: McGregor, Tavernier, Goldson, Davies and Barisic, Kamara, Lundstrom and Tillman, Kent, Fashion Sakala and Morelos. And the only change from what Barry would have played, I think, right in saying Ryan Jack you'd have had in there, just to make sure in the midfield that they were matching up against
Yeah,
Celtic.
compact and disciplined. And as I said, I believe, look, Celtic have got very good players all over the pitch, but I think that midfield three, when they're on form, that they're hard to stop. And that's the reason why I thought maybe Jack would have come in with Kamara and Lundstram. But listen, he's went with Tillman, who at times is lit games up. And Sakala, we all know what Sakala brings. He brings genuine pace.
And scored against Celtic last season.
He did.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at the Rangers team, and it's still a strong Rangers 11, and I expect Rangers to come out the traps and try and make it as awkward as possible for Celtic.
On the bench for Rangers, McLaughlin, Jack, Cholak back on, Sands, Wright, Roof is back, Arfield scored the double just the other week off the bench, King and Devine. And Celtic come with Hart, Johnson, yep, the new name, Alistair Johnson, played in the World Cup a few weeks ago. So Johnson, Carter-Vickers, Starfelt and Taylor, McGregor the captain, Hatate and O'Reilly, Forrest and Maeda, Kyogo up front. On the bench, Bain, Giakoumakis, Abada, Moy, Jota, Kobayashi, Bernabe, Abelgard and Juranovic. They've got 23 goals between just a few of those players. John, what is this the biggest game that Alistair Johnson, I mean, he played in the World Cup finals 4 weeks ago, but playing Rangers Celtic?
Well, I would think, in terms of club-wise,
Yep.
he won't face another bigger game than playing in the Old Firm derby. Although he's played for his country, which is a huge honour for him. He's played all 3 games at the World Cup. But yeah, he gets his opportunity today. There's quite a few, people are quite surprised that you've got Juranovic, who's top class, will probably leave the club. In the next, I don't know when, but there's been loads of talk about him moving on.
John, can I ask you, who are the key players for you for Celtic today? Just a couple of them that you think, if they are on form, Celtic will win.
Kyogo's key because he has to take his chances. There's no point Celtic goals win you games, Paul, and there's no point creating 3, 4, 5, 6. Because eventually, if you don't score goals, you'll get beat.
He hasn't scored yet, has he, against Rangers?
So Kyogo for me is huge. Forrest with his experience. Again, Barry spoke about Callum McGregor, fantastic player. It's whoever wins that midfield as well, whoever can get the ball, whoever can keep possession better, and feed these players and give them service, the likes of Kyogo and Johnson's key as well. Alistair Johnson, to see how he deals with the whole situation. There's been a lot of talk about him being a very good player. Didn't really, although he played at the World Cup, you're not really watching him because I wasn't sure he was coming to Celtic until he about halfway through the tournament. And again, Carter-Vickers and Morelos, who wins that battle. It's all about individual battles are all across the pitch today.
Looking forward to it. Barry, for you, for Rangers, couple of the players that really need to turn it on today.
Yeah, the one I speak quite a lot about is Ryan Kent. His form's certainly picked up since Michael Beale's come in. And I like that Morelos and Carter-Vickers. That will be a real good battle. Morelos, again, he started to score some goals. His fitness levels look to be getting better. But I always get attracted to the midfield, Paul. Yeah. I do. As I said, look, I can't sit here and kid you on. I think Celtic's midfield is full of quality. So it's a big afternoon, certainly for Kamara and Lundstram. Tillman's a bit different because he'll be able to go and try and pick up the pockets and have sort of a free roll. But Kamara and Lundstram for me have got a big afternoon ahead of them. And if they produce and make sure they get close and try and stamp their authority on the game, well, I think Rangers could be in for a good afternoon.
The big game is next.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland.
Let's go!
Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors, Paul Cooney, with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. Doesn't get much better than this. 2 giants of the big 2 as Rangers come into the tunnel. Celtic have been there for a couple of minutes. I see Joe Hart just punching hands there with Alan McGregor. Is that normal? The 2 keepers just I suppose
they've obviously got a lot of respect for each other. 2 top goalkeepers have had great careers and obviously still going. But it's interesting, Celtic, it's almost like, right, come on, let's get first in the tunnel. Maybe a little psychological advantage. We're ready, we're up for it. Callum McGregor's gone, right, come on, let's get first in there. So,
Yeah.
not that it makes an enormous difference.
Callum
but
McGregor looking straight ahead. I love to see this, Barry. You're itching to get started there. I see the Rangers players, obviously some of the mascots. What a day for these young people, boys and girls going out with the team. Referee John Beaton is there as well. We're hoping not to talk much about referees and VARs today.
Yeah, I hope so. I just hope it's VAR free, if I'm being honest with you, Paul, and the referee has a good game. But this is the bit where you've been waiting for days to line up in that tunnel. In terms of the goalkeepers going and fisting each other, they're on a different planet, goalkeepers, let's be honest. I don't think that
You've got to be crazy.
Yeah, you've got to be something missing if you want to be a goalkeeper. But this is where it starts now, Paul. You cross that white line and now you're in a battle and you need to make sure you win that battle.
The pictures there, we see the Rangers players coming off and going to the right, the Celtic players to the left, where a few years ago there would be a whole bank of 7,000 Celtic fans. There in the corner there, just under the TV screen, which most of you will know what it looks like at Ibrox, as we see. It's on Sky, of course. Our own Andy Walker will be on there along with Ali McCoist and Ian Crocker, and we're here on Go Radio Football Show, watching it and talking about it and keeping it right up to date. Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. You're just desperate to get started now, John, I would imagine.
You are.
Yeah.
You are desperate to get started. All the work is done, the shape, the team. All you got to do now is just go and not let your teammates down, not let the supporters down. You're a good player. This is why you're here. You're in these moments because you can play. You know, you're chosen by your manager to go and put up performances to win for the players and the fans. And as I said, you want to play really well in these games because I think it's your best players that normally separate these games.
Is Kyogo going to get his goal today, do you think, for Celtic?
All he has to do is keep getting in positions, Paul. Yeah. That's all he has to do. I don't think you were saying earlier on, has he scored against Rangers yet?
I don't think he has. No, he hasn't.
Right,
he definitely hasn't.
But we also mentioned the VAR. I'd be amazed at some stage because there's going to be some big calls today. There always is. You know, we just hope that they get them right.
And in Scotland, sadly, they love a bit of VAR, don't they?
Yeah, but see now, it's all about getting your first touch with the ball. Make sure your first touch is decent. You get the ball off to a teammate, and then if it's a header or a tackle, you need to make sure, Paul, that you win that.
All the players have gone towards the centre circle. 2nd of January, of course, the Ibrox disaster, the terrible events there, and the many lives that were lost so many decades ago, but still hurts today for so many families who went along to Rangers Celtic on this day and never came home. That's what happened then. Also, they're remembering Pelly and they're remembering Frank McGarvey as well before the game. So by and large, the minute's silence there observed for Frank McGarvey, for Pelly and for the victims of the Ibrox disaster. And the cameras then pan to Michael Beale, his first, and they're all wearing black armbands today. Michael Beale's first game in charge then, Barry, 4 in a row. Can he make it 5?
Yeah, well, I would like to think so. It's been a good start in terms of getting points on the board, 12 points out of 12, but this is his biggest test. He knows that. He said that in his presser, Paul, that he'll know what players that are on this pitch want to continue and go forward in Michael Beale's reign as manager. So, as I said, Rangers need to stamp their authority, get a grip of the game early doors, because if you allow Celtic to do that, Paul, they've got players that can really damage you. So here we go, ready for Ryan Kent to kick it off, and hopefully it's a 3 points for Rangers. Yeah,
Rangers, I'm saying yes, as in they are kicking off now. Rangers are playing right to left as we look from the main stand. So it's Rangers in possession first of all, and John, Celtic going for 18 out of 19, but it's Rangers who try first. An early shot there for Ryan Kent from some distance, but easily picked up. But decent start there for Rangers, John.
Yeah, it was. Ryan Kent just shifts it onto his left-hand side. He's about 35 yards out, tries a shot, and Joe Hart smothers it really comfortably.
And John, from Celtic's point of view, they're going for 18 out of 19 as they come forward. And it's Starfelt who's forward there, plays the ball in, but it's cleared by Rangers. Celtic going for 13 wins in a row.
Yeah, that's some form, isn't it? 13 wins in a row, 18 out of 19. But again, they'll want to win this game today, just to maybe give them that little bit of that comfort. And I know it's 9 points at the minute. They wouldn't want that to be 6, because what'll happen is not only will Rangers narrow the gap, but psychologically as well, they'll go into the second half of the season with a little bit more momentum. If they lose it, then obviously they've got a lot of work to do. But Celtic by no means will think they've won the league, even if they win today.
Barry, a minute, 10 seconds gone. Have you spotted anything so far? Free kick for Rangers?
Well, it's been a good start for Rangers, with Ryan Kent having that attempt on goal, and then Celtic go up the other end with Johnson going up the right side, and then obviously O'Reilly having a challenge on Lundstrom. But this is what I expect, Paul. End to end, it's an old firm game, and I honestly believe that both teams are going to try and go for the win. That's the only way that you're brought up in the west of Scotland.
And the camera there panning to Goldson. It's a free kick for Rangers. What's that, 30, 35 yards out? James Tavernier over the ball. Kamara to his left. Barisic steps forward, left-footed, chips it in towards Tillman, but it's headed clear only as far as Ryan Kent. The game is live on Sky. This is the Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors. Old Firm Derby, January 2nd. Here's Ryan Kent. What can he do today? But he's beaten there by James Forrest, and John and Barry pinpointed the fact that with Maeda and Forrest starting, they track back as well as being great attacking players. And you see Forrest, what he can do there.
Well, you're going to have to do that today. I think Forrest with Barisic. We know about Barisic, likes to get forward. He has great delivery, and of course Maeda will naturally do it on the other side. That is a huge part of his game. He does it at will. Maeda, he just loves covering ground. But it's a case of maybe Celtic will want to push Rangers back. But Rangers being the home team, I think they've started the better here. They seem to have settled. I know it's only 3 minutes gone, but they're the team that are passing it well.
And I'm fascinated with you two. If it's the slim margins, Rangers need to win it. Celtic would love to win it, but they don't need to. I wonder if that makes a difference. I wonder if we will be talking about why Juranovic. Why has he not played today? One of the best fullbacks in the world.
Well, he obviously got a bit extra time off after the World Cup, Paul, as well, and as you've seen all over the media, there's been a lot of interest, and rightly so, because I think he's been a brilliant signing for Celtic. But to be honest, Johnson, he does look the part. He looked the part for Canada in the World Cup. And listen, Postecoglou sees these players every single day, and if he had any doubts about Johnson, he wouldn't have played today, so he'll be fine. But this is an occasion where he probably never sampled in his life the atmosphere and the build up to it, and the intensity. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Johnson does, but I've got to be honest with you, he did impress me in the World Cup.
He sure did, but so too did Juranovic. But we'll see if that is a talking point later. Looks as though he'll be going. Well, we're in January now. As Rangers. What was that, Barry? What happened?
It was a tester, Davies, with a ball out of Barisic. But listen, Barisic again come back at midweek and he looked the part. He put an excellent ball in for Morelos, and again I think the way that Michael Beale plays will hopefully suit Barisic, because there's no doubt going forward he's got a brilliant delivery in him.
For sure, he looks to be back, but the Celtic game has been really tough for him last season, and this as Morelos gets the ball and tries to play it infield, but it's picked up by Maeda. Maeda chance 1-1, goal for Celtic, and it's Dyson Maeda has scored. 5 minutes gone, Celtic are 1 up. John Hartson.
That's a great finish from Maeda. It's a loose ball from Rangers. They try and play it across the field. It's Maeda who cuts it out, and he goes 1-on-1, uses his pace to get there, and it's a brilliantly taken finish. We see it here again. It's Morelos tries to play it across the park. Right. Maeda just gets in, and it's a fantastic finish. McGregor tries his best to spread himself, but what a finish from Maeda. What a start from Celtic. 5 minutes and they're 1-0 up.
Can I just say there, slack ball by Morelos, right? But Maeda's not took the best of touches. Tavernier there has got to take the ball. John, I don't know if you agree there. He's got to do better, and then he gets a second bite at it with Connor Golson. And you can't allow a player of Maeda that amount of space to go through. But Tavernier, I think you've got to take one for the team. You maybe get a yellow card, But then you stop Celtic source there. So I think Michael Beale will be absolute raging at that goal.
Thing is, the task is as difficult as you're going to get from Michael Beale as Rangers. But if you gift Celtic goals, then that's not acceptable, and that's where he'll be disappointed. It's Morelos plays a blind ball. Yet Tavernier should be stronger in the tackle, but take nothing away from Maeda. He's gone through. He's finished it really well.
Yeah, I'm not saying you need to go in and hurt a player, Paul, but sometimes you have just got to take a foul, haven't you, John? You've just got to take a booking.
Yep. And
then you get back in and you get yourself defensively organised. So that's a really disappointing bit of play by Rangers. Listen, three mistakes, will I say. Morelos with a slack ball, but Tavernier has got to do better, and also Connor Golson.
It was gifted to Celtic, wasn't it?
Yeah, but listen, you've got to give credit to Maeda. He still gets through the two challenges, which I thought were soft challenges. But it's a good finish past Alan McGregor.
As Rangers try to come forward, but it breaks down, and it's with Celtic now, swings to the other end. But the ball goes all the way back to Alan McGregor. Nearly 7 minutes gone in the first Old Firm derby of this year, the second of the season. Celtic won the first 4-0 in the East End. And in Govan, after 7 minutes, Celtic are 1 up on Rangers. Remember, 9 points in it. If it stayed like this, it would be 12 points. As Celtic come forward down the left again, Maeda crosses, looking for Forrest and Kyogo, but it goes to the other end.
Such a poor goal to lose.
Because they started well, Rangers.
Yeah, they did. But listen, you make a mistake.
What was Morelos thinking?
It's just slack. Listen, he's played a blind pass, Paul. Sometimes that happens, but Rangers have got 2 attempts to try and stop Maeda there, and that's where I think Michael Beale will be more disappointed. I know the slack pass for Morelos. I think the defending from Tavernier and Golson. And
you see how Maeda really is in form after the World Cup, and he scored for Celtic just the other week.
Great bit of pace, but also John will be able to tell you better. A great bit of composure. When he goes through one-on-one with Alan McGregor.
Talk about it in a second, because it's Maeda again. Fires the ball into the box. It skims past Alan McGregor and Barisic. It's gone for a goal kick. John, that was a dangerous one.
Well, yes, a great ball. He's allowed to put the ball in, by the way. Tavernier is better going forward than defending, but it's Kyogo and James Forrest both on their heels when the ball comes in. One of them surely has got to be gambling across that near post, and if they did, they might have got a tap in. But what a cross again from Maeda, who's actually on top of his game right now.
Yeah, Barry? It's a great ball in, but Rangers have been clearly affected by the goal. This is where you need players in the team to just calm things down, as I said. But now Celtic look, if they're team in the front foot, they look full of confidence, and Rangers need to try and find a way to get back into the game, albeit it's only 8.5 minutes, Paul, but clearly that goal's affected them.
Exactly what I was going to ask you, Barry. What do Rangers do now? As we saw kind of one of the first touches there of Alistair Johnson, who's wearing number 2 for Celtic. Well, I don't know what number he's wearing, but he's playing it right back. It's not Rolston. Rolston was still injured, and it's not Juranovic. It's Alistair Johnson. What a start for him.
Well, John? Michael Beale might learn, more from his team now going behind. He'll look at the players who are brave, who wants to stand up now and say, right, we're a goal down. Let's get back to our game. Let's not go and concede a second in as many minutes. Yeah. And he might learn about the character of some of his players. Right? It's easy when you go in front because everybody then wants the ball. It settles everybody down. You're in front. Rangers have to go and do something now to get back in the game. But sometimes when you go behind, that's when you learn about your players who really wants, who has the fight for it now.
John's right, because the Rangers fans will become a bit restless, a bit noisier, a few grunts and groans, and that's when you need big characters, Paul. Somebody to go and take the ball under a bit of pressure. So I just think, I'm looking at Rangers just now, they're just far too wide open. Yep. And when you play against a team like Celtic, one of their biggest attributes is their energy, and they can get about the pitch. I just think Rangers need to be more compact and more disciplined.
Celtic were playing it forward there, the ball into the box, but it's cleared. Comes all the way back to Carter Vickers in the centre circle. He looks up and he sees Rio Hatate. Plays it to his right to Alistair Johnson. Back to Hatate, who was in that position. And actually he's telling Johnson, isn't he, John? He's not happy with that ball back to him, but it's gone out for a throw-in.
And Fasher Sakala as well, just closing Hatate down then. Just going to close, with that real pace and intent to get the ball. That's what Rangers want now. They want to see their players now closing, pressing high, and not letting Celtic settle. Because if they settle, they can pass teams to death.
Scoring first in 116 games. They've gone on to win 108 times. There have been 8 draws, never defeated. That's either Celtic or Rangers in this fixture. That's some of the stats. That's for Celtic. Thank you, James.
You know one thing
producer.
about Celtic,
Yep.
Paul, they're brilliant at making the pitch as big as possible.
Yep.
If you watch them, the amount of interchanging they do, with obviously the 2 fullbacks coming inside and the 2 wide boys today, it's Forrest and Maeda. They're right bang on the touchline, and they make the pitch so big. And that's where Rangers have got to try and be compact and don't go and try and close somebody down for the sake of trying to run about.
Barry Starfelt with a bad ball there, but
Yeah,
Rangers
get away
couldn't
with it.
capitalise. Yep, they got away because it's that kind of mistake that led to Celtic's goal. Celtic do look to be on top, but Rangers, there's only 1 goal in it. We've played 11 and a half minutes. Long ball forward. Starfelt just nods it down to Carter Vickers. He plays it back to Starfelt. He's got Callum McGregor there looking for the ball. It's gone out of play. Was that a tackle there? Yeah. On Alistair Johnson. Sakala. He's got pace, John. He's tracking back a bit there.
Yeah, they need him to do that, and they also need him to be available and running behind.
Yep.
You know, Celtic sometimes condense the space. They'll play deep, if you like. When Rangers have the ball, they'll go deep, and that leaves no space in behind for the Rangers forwards to run into.
Yeah, it looks to me Rangers have went. Obviously, I thought they would have been 4-3-3. They've went the 4 diamond 2. They've went with Lundstrom being the holder, Kamara on the left, Tillman the right side, and Kent behind Morelos and Sakala. Again, sometimes I think you've got to try and get a foothold in the game, and that's where I thought maybe the midfield has better just been a solid 3. And maybe I think they're playing into Celtic's hands here.
Celtic can exploit it with the pace that they've got. Barry had said beforehand you thought Jack would be in it.
Yeah, for the simple fact is, you know what you get. Ryan Jack's a very disciplined midfielder, Paul. He likes to go and protect that centre-back pairing. And that's why I thought he would have went with Ryan Jack, Kamara and Lundstrom. But he's went with it looks to me, if he's playing the 4 diamond 2. And I think that's playing into Celtic's hands, if I've been honest, Paul.
Carter Vickers there being chased by Sakala. He plays it all the way back to Joe Hart, who's 25 yards off the
Amount of
goal
space
line.
Celtic have got, as you see here.
Played down the left to Hatate. Hatate plays it back out to the left to James Forrest. In fact, Greg Taylor, it's going to be a throw in. Tavernier screaming.
Yeah, O'Reilly needed a shout there, but he's clever enough even to have a quick look over his shoulder, because when it came to him, he could have actually turned with the ball. There was nobody behind him. So very uncharacteristic from O'Reilly. He's normally very good when he's in possession. Great passer of the ball.
You know the voices if you're tuning in. That's John Hartson with Barry Ferguson. Celtic are 1 up and coming forward. It's Callum McGregor. Tries a shot from some distance. Goes past the post. Saved though by McGregor.
It didn't look as if it was a really good strike from Callum. It was on his right hand side. He's almost stretching for it. And I think the ball is actually going out for a goal kick, but Alan McGregor makes sure it goes out, and now it's a Celtic corner. Corner
quickly taken, played on for O'Reilly, but too much on it there from James Forrest.
Again, Paul, the prime example when you've played against Celtic previously, they like to do things quickly, and there's a short corner kick, and Rangers ain't switched on for me there. You've got to be switched on constantly when you're playing against Celtic.
Well, you've said that game after game in these Old Firm.
I'm not saying that's the only reason Celtic have beat Rangers in the past. But again, you can't turn your back. You know, they take quick throw-ins, quick free kicks, quick corner kicks, and you've got to be on it constantly.
Look at the way Celtic swarm forward in numbers. John, Celtic 14 and a half minutes gone 1 up.
Well, Maeda is playing right on the shoulder of Tavernier. That's a foul. Should have been a foul anyway. But there we are. Maeda knows that he's got the beat in the Tavernier. He's got more pace. So by giving himself a yard, playing on his shoulder, somebody puts him in behind, he knows he'll get away from Tavernier.
But that's where he's got to be touched tight, John. You can't give Maeda a yard or 2 of space.
Rangers players gone down there.
Already, Paul, what I'd mentioned before the game is you can't allow Celtic to dictate the pace of the game. And already in the first 15 minutes, Callum McGregor is running the game for Celtic.
So Celtic dictating the pace of the game. As the ball goes out of play, it's going to be a throw-in. Ange Postecoglou claiming it, but it's going to go to Rangers. 15 and a half minutes gone. In Glasgow, the eyes and the ears of the world will be watching this game. It's the biggest game today in the world. Celtic have got 70% of the possession, just exactly what you said, Barry. John, Celtic so far on top.
Well, yeah, they seem to be. Rangers are on the little spell now of possession, but that'll ebb and flow, Paul, as the game will go on. But Celtic have got that all-important first goal, and now as a team they can settle. They can settle down. Players will feel a bit more confident of taking the ball in tight situations because of that one goal lead is so vital when you go away from home and you can take the lead. It settles everything down for you as a team.
Yep. It was a good chance here for Celtic, Barry, wasn't it? James Forrest, but a poor ball forward.
Yeah, he overhit the pass there, but again, Celtic, there's Rangers on the attack just now. Morelos.
Yep, he's got on his left, on the overback.
He's got to deliver.
Yep. Into the box, looking for Sakala, just goes over Sakala, but the ball, in fact, has the flag gone up? Yep.
It's a foul.
Player stop. Was that a push? Yeah. Sakala.
I think he's trying to challenge Greg Taylor for the ball. I think if you touch him down the box now, it's
not a contact sport
yeah,
anymore, is it?
That's the thing that's worrying me about modern day football, but a bit better for Rangers there.
Yep.
Tillman into Morelos, good touch, wide to Barisic, just the delivery.
Wasn't a great ball in, Barry.
No, I expect better for Barisic.
Yeah, we're just seeing that incident again. Greg Taylor going down. Doesn't look to be anything in it. 17 minutes gone. Rangers 0, Celtic 1 as we approach nearly at the halfway mark of the first half. Greg Taylor going to get some attention. John, he's been one of the big successes of Celtic last season and this.
Yeah, as he's come onto a game, I think Greg Taylor. One of the reasons for that is he's consistently played, Paul. I think when you're consistently chosen by your manager, we're just seeing the finish again. It's gone under McGregor's body, but it's a brilliant finish. He's got his left hand to it, tries to spread himself as best as he can. But again, it's a really good finish. He's through 1-on-1 and he's really clinical there when he gets the chance.
That's a horror goal from Rangers' point of view. 3 mistakes there, Paul.
Morelos, Tavernier,
Golson. Yep.
3 of the most experienced players.
Yep.
in the Rangers team.
Listen, it happens sometimes with a striker or a midfielder. You play a square pass, it gets cut out. But Rangers have got 2 opportunities there, and they'll be disappointed. Really disappointed. Michael Beale will be absolute fuming at that goal.
I mean, he knows there's going to have to be an overhaul. It has to be. This is essentially the team from 2 years ago, minus Aribo. And I won't mention Bassey, because 2 years ago he hardly featured. It was more last year when he became the £21 million player. But
Paul, it needs a fair amount of surgery.
It does, doesn't it?
I think he knows that. He knows that himself.
No matter what happens today.
Yep. January's always tough. We know what sort of window January is. Is it just going to be loan signings? But in the summer, Paul, it's going to be a massive summer for Michael Beale.
Celtic coming forward, long ball for Kyogo, just edge of the box. He takes the ball towards in fact, it's been a push, or is it offside?
Just run slightly offside, Kyogo, yeah.
He's a hard man to, you do need VAR for Kyogo. He's so fast, John.
He's got great movement. He really has. He runs across the line of the back 4 and then he darts in between 2 defenders, and he normally times his runs to perfection. But this is Greg Taylor.
Yep.
I don't know, it's the injury from earlier on when he dealt with the cross. Morelos is having a little dig. Taylor's on his backside.
Has he not been struggling with injury?
He has been, hasn't he? Looks as though he'll come off. Barnaby would come on, I would imagine. Yeah, I would think.
Swap, yeah. Like for like.
In fact, Juranovic.
Juranovic.
Yeah. So the World Cup bronze medalist, Josip Juranovic, reckoned now to be 15 to 20 million. Could this be his last game?
What's Barnaby think?
Yeah, I know. That's true. Yeah. What is he thinking?
Well,
of course, it's his position.
That tells you that he's he trusts Juranovic, a guy who's been all over the media the past couple of weeks. He's returned obviously late because of Croatia's brilliant run in the World Cup. And when your left back comes off, Greg Taylor, because he's clearly Celtic's number 1 left back, and you would expect Barnaby to take that position, but he's went for Juranovic.
John, not bad though if you have to take off Greg Taylor, but you bring on Juranovic.
Yeah, he can play there. I know what Barry's saying, but Juranovic can play there. He's got experience, and he can come inside on that favourable right foot. But he's got the experience to play left back.
Coming into,
I was just wanting Barnaby to come on.
I wondered why you were saying that. Well, what about Barnaby?
Yeah.
Look, John, come on, phone Ange. No, it's too late. He's on now. Say Barry wants
My
Barnaby.
games have started already.
John, you've met the big fella, Ange Postecoglou, who's transformed your old team's fortunes.
He's done very well. There's no doubt in that. I think one of the major things he's done is got the recruitment right.
Yeah.
There's probably 8 to 9 players out there, other than the likes of McGregor and James Forrest that are new to come into the team, and they've all played their part and did exceptionally well. And recruitment in any club is massive.
Massive. And we'll come back to that about Celtic and Rangers shortly. But here come Rangers down the left. It's Barisic. Ball comes off James Forrest. Throw in. Barisic to Lundstrom. Lundstrom to Kamara. Kamara back out to Barisic on this left touchline, as you would expect. Rangers demanding the ball early, like Celtic, and they get it. So it's a throw in. Back to Lundstrom. Lundstrom to Ben Davies. Davies forward to Tillman, but he loses out there. The ball could go back to Sakala, but it's Kyogo back helping the defence, and he gets past 2 Rangers players. It's going to be a free kick to Celtic. John, Sakala laughing there. What are you thinking?
He's probably thinking the decision should have gone his way, but Sakala's one of those early on in this game that he has been pressing with a bit of intent, showing a little bit of aggression, which you always need in these games, but as long as it's controlled, Paul, because otherwise you don't want to
get closer.
Yeah, you don't want to be going down to 10 men in these games.
Carter Vickers long ball there. Tavernier gives too much space to Maeda.
See when that ball's in mid-flow from Carter Vickers, Tavernier needs to be on the move to make sure as soon as he takes his first touch, he's bang on him. He's giving him a yard or 2 of space, John, and you can't give him.
Maeda, look at this, he's just blown Tavernier away with just that little bit of pace. It's a mismatch, really. If Maeda can get himself away from Tavernier, as Barry said, he's got to get tight and he's got to be literally on his heels. Because he will run away. He's got electric pace, Maeda.
Sure is. Celtic come forward again. 22 and a half minutes gone, midway through the first half. Go Radio Football Show. Macklin Motors, Paul Cooney here with Barry Ferguson.
It's hard for me
and
to
John
say
Hartson.
Celtic look more composed on the ball. It looks a bit rushed from Rangers' point of view, but Rangers have got to be more aggressive with and without the ball, Paul, and that was a prime example with Carter Vickers with his diag to Maeda. You can't allow a guy who's got frightening pace a yard or 2 of space.
Rangers failing to cope with Maeda, and you can see why he is in at the moment rather than Abada or Jota. Celtic with a really strong bench, probably the stronger of the 2 benches. Already they've exercised one of them with Juranovic coming on 2 minutes ago for Greg Taylor, who is injured. I see Morelos had a word with him beforehand, but that doesn't matter at the moment as the ball just bobbing about in the midfield, and it's fallen to Callum McGregor, comes off a Rangers player, and it's going to be a throw-in for Celtic midway, in fact towards just about 20 yards from the halfway line. The Rangers fans will be getting a bit disgruntled maybe, Barry, now, or what do you think?
Yeah, they'll expect more. They're at home, albeit they're coming up against a very good team, there's no doubt about that, but they need to, as I said, Paul, they need to be aggressive, they need to be on the front foot. As I said, Celtic are the team that look more confident. Clearly the goals gave them that confidence, but Rangers are a yard or 2 off Celtic at this moment in time.
And I'm seeing the space you were talking about that Celtic have there coming forward.
Paul, that's one thing they're great at. They interchange a lot, as we spoke about. The fullbacks come in and become basically central midfielders. So Rangers need to match that.
Ben Davies breaks down a Celtic attack, but the flag had gone up anyway. John, what are you thinking? 25 minutes gone.
Well, I'm just thinking Celtic have started the way I expected them to, but of course the bonus is the goal, which settles everybody down. But Celtic, as I said, Paul, they're relentless in their work. The players, a lot of this is off the training ground. They work on the style, the system, creating that spare man, creating an overload, and that's why they seem to be so good on the ball. There's always somebody available for a Celtic player when he's on the ball.
On the ball now.
It's a good tackle there from Davis on O'Reilly. But against Celtic, winning it back, winning the ball back, pressing in numbers.
And yet we talked about Rangers needing to win it, and you'd have thought they maybe wanted it even more.
But sometimes there's not a lot you can do when Celtic is so good on the ball, other than press more aggressive and have spells of possession yourself. But sometimes you look at the Celtic team, and the reason why they're playing like this is because they do it to every team. They did it in Europe. This is because it's work on the training ground, the system. They play the system very, very well.
This is what I found when I played in Old Firm games, that if Celtic were on top, as soon as we got the ball, we had to keep the ball, keep possession, keep it for a minute or two, and let Celtic move about. But Rangers, look to me, as soon as they get it, it goes straight back to a Celtic player.
Which is why Celtic are coming forward now down the right. The ball goes out to James Forrest. He looks up there, he sees O'Reilly, but that's good interception by Lundstrom. Lundstrom plays it forward for Morelos. Morelos back to Lundstrom. He's bundled off the ball. It's going to be a free kick to Rangers after 26 minutes. Kyogo goes, and as he does, offers a hand to the Rangers player as we just wait for this free kick to be taken. Wonder if we'll see changes at half time. Will Michael Beale say, I need to change things? Still a fair bit of time
I don't
to go
think
before
personnel,
that.
I think maybe the system needs changed a bit. Because as I said, Celtic are controlling the middle of the pitch, and you can't allow that to happen.
As Rangers now in possession inside their own half. Tavernier plays it back to Golston. Golston thumps it up down the right. Sakala chasing it, but it goes all the way back to Joe Hart. Sakala goes down, but there's nobody there. John, what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking Tavernier is pushed right back. Tavernier does all his best work in the opposition half, and he's being pushed back right now because of Celtic's pressure and because of the way they're keeping the ball. Really, Rangers have to keep the ball and have spells to allow Tavernier to move forward.
And Joe Hart there, he, as often does, messes about in the box, comes off Morelos, almost goes in. Still Rangers, great chance for Rangers. Shot for Ryan Kent, hits the post, it's still in play. Sakala, shot. Has it come off a Celtic hand? This is madness by Joe Hart. But two great chances there for Rangers. Still 1-0 Celtic. Let's see this again, John. What is he thinking?
Well, again, I think Joe Hart is he's just not doing it quick enough. You know, he just didn't clear the ball quick enough. But I have to say, he recovers. He makes a brilliant save from Ryan Kent, which he pushes it onto the post. But he shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
John, Barry, what a chance for Rangers.
Yeah, it was a great chance. I'm just looking at the second chance from Sakala. Listen, Joe Hart makes a blunder, a great save from Ryan Kent, but Starfelt's challenge on Sakala was the one that saved Celtic from conceding a goal here. But you just see here, Ryan Kent, it's a great fingertip from Joe. It's this second one with Starfelt. It's not shown yet, but that's a great challenge for Starfelt.
28 minutes gone. There's a bit of words going on. McGregor and Barisic. This is unusual. We haven't seen it on camera. What happened there? There was an incident down touchline on the main stand. You don't often see that, do you? Callum McGregor, he's calmed down now. Referee Beaton is there. Lundstrom still saying whatever it is he's saying to Callum McGregor. It has calmed down. They're speaking to each other. Alistair Johnson being spoken to. Yeah,
I thought it was fine.
Fine. But it's not a contact sport anymore, Barry.
No, but I think he's challenged Lundstrom. I think Lundstrom was all right about it. You know what I mean? It's just it's one of the things. But listen, don't mind that. A wee bit of needle.
A wee bit of afters. Barisic's going to take the throw in for Rangers.
Nice to see Barisic with a bit of needle.
Yep. That was the big criticism over the past 12 months for him.
Again, Joe Hart, you know, Ange wants the goalkeeper to play the ball out, but sometimes you got to look at the situation and put your foot through it sometimes. But certainly the save from Ryan Kent, he pushes it onto the post, was a brilliant save.
Sure. Kamikaze defending though by Joe Hart at times as Rangers come forward down the right. Celtic leading by a goal to nil. 29 minutes and 10 seconds gone in the Glasgow derby as Rangers come forward. The ball into the box, just headed down by Carter Vickers, falls for Ryan Kent. He jinks into the box, tries to get the cross in. He wins a corner. Corner for Rangers. Best spell, Barry, for Rangers.
Yeah, they've obviously got confidence from Joe Hart's mistake, with obviously Ryan Kent having an attempt in Sakala. And this is something that Rangers need to push on from now.
Corner kick going to be taken by James Tavernier. Looks to take a quick one, but nope, nobody there. So he takes 3-4 steps
back.
back.
Delivery here. The delivery's got to be spot on.
He comes right footed, near post, but it's headed away by Kyogo. Comes back to Ryan Kent. Kent into the box, headed away by Karl Starfelt, Swedish international. Comes back to Kamara. Kamara to Lundstrom. Lundstrom tried to fashion another attack for Rangers. Down the left. Ryan Kent just jinks inside, loses two Celtic players, or half loses them. He plays it square to Glenn Kamara. Kamara looks up for his options. He's got Morelos is out wide. It comes to Sakala. Sakala into the box, and it's cleared by Carter Vickers only as far as Morelos. He's
Yeah, in the
way outside the
box.
box, to Kamara, and McGregor uncharacteristically doesn't clear it properly. The ball goes all the way back to Joe Hart.
And we breathe.
John, indeed, yeah.
Yeah, but see there, Morelos is. And I get it sometimes in the game, but I want to see Morelos inside that 6-yard box. That's where he's dangerous.
He's wasted out wide,
Yep.
isn't he?
Because Kamara's there as well.
I
Why
get
is he?
sometimes you have to be out there at times, but listen, there's enough Rangers players out there for Morelos to make sure he's inside that 6-yard box.
And John, Celtic putting themselves under pressure there.
Yeah, just giving
Yeah.
Rangers a bit of encouragement. Celtic have controlled the game in the first 23, 24 minutes, but Rangers there with that little bit of encouragement. Joe Hart's mistake, they go and hit the post. Ryan Kent, good save from Joe Hart. Then they force a corner. So it's probably Rangers' best spell in the game these last 3 or 4 minutes.
The goal came in 5 minutes. Dyson, Maeda, Tavernier, Goldson and Morelos all to blame. John, sorry, you're going to say?
No, I'm just saying,
Yep.
Celtic have given Rangers a bit of encouragement. They playing a few long balls like there now has gone out to play. Just literally handing the ball back to Rangers.
31 and a half minutes gone. Rangers now their best spell so far, but Celtic 9 points clear, heading for 12 if this is how it stays, but I don't think it's going to stay.
Yeah, I
More
think
goals.
he's tweaked it. I think he's put Sakala out the right hand side because of the danger in Maeda
For the speed.
against
Yeah.
Tavernier. Yes.
You did say, and John too, how would they cope with the speed of Maeda? Lundstrom, halfway line, plays it to Goldson. Goldson, right hand side, 10, 15 yards into Celtic territory. Plays a 1-2 with Tavernier.
This is what they need to do. Keep the ball a bit.
Just what
Keep
you
the ball
said.
for a minute or two. Yes.
Plays it forward to
Keep
Kent.
possession. It's all
25
about
yards out.
delivery.
Out to Barisic, left hand side. Plays it to the far post.
like
Too
him.
much on it. That was a poor one.
Yeah, he's had a
Yep.
couple now, Paul. Very unlike Barisic. That's one thing you would say is one of his strengths is his delivery into the box, and he'll be disappointed with this because, as I said, he had a great ball in for Morelos' goal against Motherwell during the week there. But that's 2 attempts he's had, and there've been 2 poor attempts.
And Rangers work it really well. They come across the pitch, very patient with their passing, good crisp passing. Kent plays it to Barisic all the time in the world, and no quality on the cross.
And a poor ball there by Juranovic allows Rangers down the right. Tillman looks up, plays it in, but it's a poor ball as well. And Reo Hatate, who scored a double against Rangers earlier in the season, plays it out, but it falls for Conor Goldson.
A good couple of minutes, Rangers here.
Yeah, Celtic can't get out at the
Yeah,
minute.
they're pinning Celtic in just now.
That tweak they've
ball.
made working so far for Rangers. So it's going to be a throw into Rangers. James Tavernier, the captain, looks up, plays it to John Lundstrom. Big signing from Sheffield United and a free transfer a year and a half ago, almost 2 years, as Callum McGregor plays it to Juranovic, but poor. And Juranovic
What,
again
keep that there.
comes forward, plays it left to Hatate. Hatate to O'Reilly. O'Reilly to Hatate. Right, we see the pace here of Maeda, but Tavernier that time, in fact, Maeda gets it, but the ball has gone just out of play. Yeah,
It's Celtic looking to play in behind Tavernier there, but Tavernier always was under control. He always felt the ball was going to go out to play, which didn't give Maeda a chance. But good spell from Rangers. Now they've had this, they're on top in the game these last 3 or 4 minutes, Paul. They'll want to do something with this possession. Ultimately they'll want to score.
good ball. Ben Davies switches the play out to Tavernier. Tavernier forward to Sakala, but it comes off. It's blocked by Juranovic. Juranovic, who came on for Greg Taylor. Maeda touches it. It's going to be corner kick for Rangers. 35 minutes.
One of the reasons why Rangers have had a good spell because they've been a little bit more aggressive. They've been more confident on the ball. They've got 4 or 5 passes in. They have settled a little bit, and that's what they needed to do.
And that helps you so much, John, doesn't it? If you
Of
get
course.
a bit of
It's
possession.
all about keeping the ball,
Yeah,
Paul.
sure.
Sometimes in the game you just have to keep possession to make sure the opposition are moving about, and that's what Rangers have done the last 4 or 5 minutes. And now they've come into the game. They need to make sure one of these set pieces count.
Celtic are 1 up. It's corner kick for Rangers at that far side, just in front of the small band of Celtic fans. Goes back out of play. Is it going to be a goal kick? The ball was played towards Conor Goldson.
Big Joe
Yeah.
never looked too confident there.
Could have gone either way. That I think it's Tillman and Joe Hart with the challenge. It's gone Celtic's way anyway. Celtic goal kick.
Big Joe Hart there. Barry didn't look as confident, did he? Coming out for the ball.
Yeah, it's very unlike him. Let's be honest, he's had a brilliant start to his Celtic career, isn't he? He's been solid for Celtic.
The Celtic fans love him as Celtic come forward, but just too much on the ball. Celtic not having, they're not holding the ball, John, the way they were in the first 25 minutes.
They're not. The last 10 minutes they've been chasing the ball. I think Rangers are having a really, really good spell, and also when Celtic do have it, they were doing what Rangers were doing early on. They were giving the ball away. John,
here comes Celtic. Reo Hatate. He looks up. He's got Daisen Maeda out to the left, and that's where it goes. Maeda back to Hatate. McGregor goes on a run. Allows Hatate to stay on the ball. He plays it back 10-15 yards to Carter Vickers. Carter Vickers to Starfelt. Starfelt towards the left, plays it to Callum McGregor. Rangers closing them down, not giving Celtic many options. But here comes Alistair Johnson. Johnson plays it to the right to James Forrest. Forrest back to Hatate. Hatate lays it off for his captain. Captain McGregor plays it out to the right again to Johnson. Johnson, good ball in for Forrest. He's got Kamara on him. Still Forrest into the box, looking for Kyogo, but it's collected by Alan McGregor.
Yeah, he had to come and collect that. I wasn't sure if he was going to come and try and catch it or punch it, Paul, but that was good for Alan McGregor there. Celtic had a good bit of possession there. They worked it really well into Rangers' box, but thankfully Alan McGregor was there to pick it up.
I wonder what the neutral would make of this. The worldwide audience, we're obviously here in Glasgow. I wonder what they make of the football. John, some good stuff, would you say?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
There's not an awful lot. Obviously, Celtic got the early goal, and I wouldn't say they're holding on to the 1-0 lead. But Rangers have come back in the game. They've showed good spirit. They don't look as if they're dead and buried, Rangers. And they're showing good character right now. They're showing what they've showed in the last 4 games. They've won the last 4.
Lovely play there by Hatate. Just turns, checks, plays it out to the right to Forrest. A chance there for Kyogo, but he misses it. Still in the box. Maeda to Hatate. Tries a shot, but it cannons off. Lundstrom had no real conviction in it.
You've got to see there that Sakala's got to keep the ball there.
What did he do?
Slack. He's trying to play into Morelos, but it's a slack pass. Again, when Celtic are on top and they've got a bit of possession there, that's better for Tavernier.
Tackles
Maeda.
Yep.
But Sakala's got to hold on to the ball better there, Paul.
Celtic getting possession again just in the last 90 seconds or so after a good spell for Rangers. Celtic leading by a 0-0. 6 minutes left in the first half.
I think that's a good chance from Kyogo. James Forrest cuts it back. Kyogo just has an air shot. He just completely misses the ball. A player with the technique that he has, I think he'd be disappointed with that effort.
The Celtic fans wouldn't be. Look, I'm not. Kyogo's the top scorer in the country, but they love Giakoumakis as well.
They love Giakoumakis,
and he does well against Rangers.
Yeah, well, he puts himself about. They're totally different player, Giakoumakis and Kyogo. Giakoumakis brings that physicality where Kyogo will run in behind and work the defence with his movement.
Rangers playing the ball out of defence. It's Connor Goldson, but it goes to the head of Alistair Johnson, a new face here in Scottish football, just signed a couple of weeks ago. In fact, officially started yesterday, January 1st.
I think he's done okay. I think he's looked to join in. He's got forward when he's had to. He's defended okay. I think Ryan Kent has got in once or twice, but I think he's done okay for somebody who's making his debut today.
Canadian international, played in the World Cup just a few weeks ago for his country. They had a tough World Cup. I don't think people expected much from them.
Well, he's a signing that comes in and he's proven. He's an international. He's played for his country. He's played in the MLS, and not to say that's the best league in the world.
Easy.
Here comes O'Reilly. O'Reilly plays it in, looking for Kyogo, but of course they don't have the height in the striking position, and it's cleared by Rangers. Only as far as Karl Starfelt. He plays it to Juranovic. Juranovic to Maeda.
Exactly what Tavernier's doing just now. That should have been done at the start of the game.
Give him no
Force
space.
Him back away. Because one thing Maeda's got, he's got genuine pace that will hurt you, Paul. So you've got to put him under pressure. And what Tavernier's done the last couple of times is bang on.
40 minutes gone. It's the Go Radio Football Show. Glasgow's own. Thanks for making the switch. We'll be on tomorrow night, 5 till 7, talking about this game. Is it going to be a Celtic win? It's going to be a draw. Is it a Rangers fight back? Let's see what happens in the next hour. As a poor ball by Matt O'Reilly, not having his. Maybe I'll ask you about his game in a moment.
Too casual,
yeah,
just casual in possession. Celtic very unlike them.
But Celtic regain possession.
But there, John, I know you're saying about Celtic there. Rangers get possession, then they just give it away again.
But
so they both
in terms
are.
of Celtic being a bit casual, giving the ball, well, that's down to Rangers. His press.
The ball outright to Forest. Neither team getting control at this point with just under 5 minutes left in the first half. Celtic 1 up. Hatati plays it left to Juranovic. Juranovic, is he going to let fly? No, he plays it to Maeda. Too much on it, but it was almost like that own goal the other night.
I'm glad he never took a touch here. I mean, I'm expecting Maeda to take a touch in the box and drive at Tavernier, but
that's the chance I'm talking about, Kyogo.
John, tell the listeners what you saw.
Well, that one there, Maeda, the goal he scored against Hibs the other night, where he shifts it onto his right foot. I don't know, it was from 25, 30 yards. That time there, he just tried sloppily to play it with his left foot, and it goes over the goal. I just think he should take a touch there, put it back on his right foot, and he's got a shot on McGregor's goal. But he does opposite to what he did the other night. But he's capable of these doing some brilliant things.
Fashion Sakala, who scored last season against Celtic, plays it out to Tillman. Tillman plays it into the box, and Morelos was through there, Barry.
Yeah, it was a decent ball in, just a half a yard too high from. But that's where I want to see Morelos, Paul, in that box. He's offside.
Offside decision for Celtic, but he's where you would expect him to be. So, in fact, so they're not giving the offside; they're giving it's a corner kick. Yep, corner kick for Rangers. Tavernier.
He's offside in the replay.
Yeah,
it's a corner kick.
Ball into the box, header way over the top. That was a chance there for Morelos.
But again, he causes problems inside that 6-yard box, Paul. As I said, he's a physical presence in there. It's actually Juranovic that's picking Morelos up there.
He should do better, shouldn't he, Barry? There, he's got free header, and he heads it over the bar.
Yeah, he's got to at
free
least
header
hit the
for
target.
Morelos.
42 minutes gone, so it's 3 to go.
O'Reilly's
plus, O'Reilly down the right, up over the halfway line, plays it to James Forrest. Forrest to Hatati. Hatati's got space, 25 yards out, takes too long on the ball, and he's tackled, but he's still in possession. Plays it to Maeda, who is supporting him. It's Juranovic.
Wide.
Let's fly, but it's way over the top and wide. So John should have done better.
Yeah, well, he obviously feels like he wants to have a shot, but I think it was Johnson on his right hand side that was marauding forward. For me, probably that was the best option to play Johnson in on the right hand side.
Marauding. That's a great word, John Hartson.
Marauding.
Marauding. Yeah,
I never did a lot of it.
Did you not? No, but you bagged a few goals. John Hartson, Barry Ferguson, who bagged more than a few trophies as well. They both did. In case you're counting the mentions of both their triumphs in these games and in other games as well. Rangers 0, Celtic 1. 2 minutes to go plus stoppage as Celtic lose possession. So Rangers coming forward, but Celtic regain it through Juranovic, and his captain Callum McGregor plays it up towards the halfway line. Kyogo can't control it. He's got Tavernier on him. Falls for Kamara. Kamara out left to Barisic. Barisic in that familiar area down the left. He's got Johnson there in front of him. Plays it infield to Kamara. Kamara to Johnson. It's on to Lundstrom. Lundstrom out to the right. We're watching it, of course, on Sky Sports as here comes Ryan Kent across field. Tries to play it through to Sakala, but Carter Vickers gets it, then loses it. It's a shot for Morelos, but just too wide, too high, Barry.
Yeah, a mistake with Carter Vickers there. He's trying to dribble out where you think he should just clear his lines there, but Morelos is getting an attempt on goal. It was never going to trouble Joe Hart.
I think Celtic would be happy to see half time, Paul. I think Rangers in the last 10 minutes or so, they've had better possession. They've looked more of a threat than Celtic have, and I think Celtic would like to get in at half time, regroup, take the lead into half time, and Ange to settle them down and have a few words with the players.
Ball's out of play again, so it's Rangers with the throw in to Lundstrom. Lundstrom back into his own half to Goldson. Goldson to Kamara. Kamara, good 1-2 with Lundstrom. Plays it out to the right to James Tavernier. Tavernier switches it into Malik Tillman. We've not seen much of the on loan player. He plays it forward, but it comes off Callum McGregor. Celtic now on the ball. O'Reilly, Hatati, but it's very, very untidy. Celtic not keeping possession in the way that Rangers didn't in the early stages. So Rangers forward. 30 seconds left. Barisic into the box, headed away, but it's still in play.
Better delivery
from
That's
Barisic.
what Barisic is capable of.
Here's Tavernier. He goes, plays it into the box, still bobbing about. Callum McGregor heads it away. There's nobody for Celtic challenging, so Barisic to Kamara. Kamara out to the left to Ryan Kent. Tillman is in the box. Morella is in the box. So is Sakala. It's Rangers now. Down the left, Barisic, left-footed, low. And it's cleared by Dyson Maeda. 2 minutes to be played. We've played 10 seconds of it. The ball falls for Conor Goldson. Goldson plays it back to Alan McGregor. McGregor plays it back to Conor Goldson. Goldson. 90 seconds left. Rangers 0, Celtic 1. Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors, Paul Cooney, with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. Here's Morelos, 30 yards from Celtic's goal. Good play, strong play, plays it out to the right to Tavernier. Tavernier plays it to the far post, and it's going to be a corner kick for Rangers. Hatate there, up over the advertising
hoardings. Good play
hoardings.
from Rangers, really good. First of all, it's Barisic with a wonderful delivery from the left. Again, Tavernier hits it to the back post, is headed back out for a Rangers corner. Lots of pressure now. Celtic need to defend this corner really well and get into half-time with the lead.
James Tavernier, it's on the stand side. Right-footed, high, to the far post. Up goes the Rangers' head, but it's past the post. Morelos had a chance again, Barry.
Yeah, it's a great delivery from Tavernier, as we just see here. I'm surprised Juranovic actually picking up Morelos for the second time there. Again, I think he's got to hit the target there.
Yep.
Yeah, he's got to hit the target there. He'll be disappointed.
He's got a free header. Juranovic is in front of him, but it's a mismatch, really. Morelos is so much stronger than Juranovic. They might look to change that at half-time for the second half, whoever's picking Morelos up. But it's a great delivery. Morelos gets into a little bit of space, free header, heads it wide. Again, as a second header in as many minutes, should be hitting the target.
Celtic started the better. Rangers maybe had the first 5 or 10 minutes, first 5 minutes, and then Celtic scored. Daisen Maeda after 5 minutes. They then dominated until about the 25th minute, and Rangers probably having the better of the rest of the half as the half-time whistle goes and the cameras there go on Maeda. John, the Celtic fans will be happier?
They'll be happier, yeah, of course, but they'll be worrying in the last 10 minutes how Rangers have come on to a game, created 2 or 3 good opportunities, maybe should be in front with Morelos' chances. But like I said before the game, Paulie, you've got to take these opportunities when they come.
Barry?
Yeah, I think they got a bit of confidence off Joe Hart's mistake, where obviously Ryan Kent had the attempt on goal and then Sakala, and then Rangers started to come into the game and press them. And as I said, I think Morelos will be disappointed that he's not at least hit one of the headers on target. But again, I'll go back to it, Paul. The first goal, it was an absolute shambles.
Tea or coffee or something stronger? We'll be back for the halftime analysis next.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland.
Let's go!
Let's go to the Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors, Paul Cooney with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. It's the second Glasgow derby of the season, and at half-time, Celtic leading by 1-0. Daisen Maeda after 5 minutes. Greg Taylor went off in 20 minutes. Juranovic is on, and the 28th minute, Rangers' best chance. Joe Hart clearance, cannons off Morelos, falls for Ryan Kent. Terrific chance, great shot, comes off the post, but a brilliant save by Joe Hart. And then, right at the end, 2 minutes into injury time, corner from James Tavernier. Alfredo Morelos' header went just wide. So what are you thinking of it? You can come on the socials to tell us what you think. Brian is on here. He's watching and listening to the game, saying that he thinks that he gives Rangers 2 out of 10 so far and Celtic 3. He thinks both of them, neither side have really controlled the ball. Poor quality, 2 very poor looking teams is what he feels.
Well, I've got to be honest with you, up until the Joe Hart mistake, I thought Celtic were in control of the game, and then obviously that gave Rangers a bit of confidence and they come back in it the last 15 minutes or so. A couple of opportunities. Morelos certainly, the corner kick just before half time. Tavernier, great delivery, and Morelos, I'm expecting him again, Paul, to at least hit the target. But I go back to it, the first goal, it's a gift. It's a gift for Celtic. I know it's a slack ball for Morelos, but again, Tavernier, you've got to get through him. You've got to take one for the team. Got to maybe take a booking. So I think Michael Beale will be absolute fuming at that. But as I said, listen, I've seen better Old Firm games, but it's still a knife edge. Rangers, I would hope, would go in at half time a bit more confident, and I'm sure Postecoglou will give a wee bit to Celtic because they were very slack, certainly in possession, and it's very unlike them.
John, what do you think? Brian's final comment is if Celtic were on it, they would be 3 up at the moment.
Well, you can't forget that Rangers have also hit the post.
Yep.
Joe Hart with a fantastic save, but it was his mistake that brought on that save. Maeda's played a couple of balls across the box. Celtic looked dangerous for 20-25 minutes, and then for whatever reason they sat back. Rangers showed a little bit more aggression in their closing down. They managed to get the ball. They've had good spells with the ball. They forced a good few corners towards the half time. And I think Celtic, personally, I'm delighted Celtic can go in with a 1-goal lead, because I think Rangers should be back in the game. Morelos have had 2 free headers in the 6-yard box, and normally he'd put at least one of them away. Barisic and Tavernier, more so leading up to the half-time whistle, they've pushed forward a lot more, whereas in the first 20 minutes Celtic were pushing their full-backs further back into their own half. But Rangers, they've got the lion's share of the last 20 minutes. I mean, should be drawing this game.
John, what a start for Celtic though, and Dyson Maeda showed that he is in form.
Yeah, it's a brilliant finish, but from Rangers' point of view, from Celtic's, we just seeing Joe Hart here not clearing the ball, and it nearly cost Celtic. It's Ryan Kent, but then he makes up for it with a brilliant save, which he pushes it onto the left-hand post. You can see Morelos closes it down. Does well from a pointer's point of view, but Joe Hart, you're just thinking, what is he doing there? Just clear it, put your foot through it. Ryan Kent, oh my God, that is inches away from going in. That's a brilliant save. Joe Hart is full stretched and pushes it onto the post. And we've seen Morelos heads it over the bar. If he keeps that down, the pace of the ball probably takes it in.
Barry, just seeing the highlights for the first half. We got your thoughts on Maeda. What about these chances for Morelos?
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt Rangers finished the first half stronger, Paul, on the front foot. And I'm just looking at these 2 headers, and I think if you ask Morelos himself, he'll be disappointed. He's not at least made Joe Hart work with one of them. Certainly, I think the second one, as you see, Juranovic, I think there's a size difference. Morelos is clearly more powerful. I know John mentioned it just before half time. I'm sure that's something they may change when Rangers have a corner, but I think Rangers will go in more confident that at least they've shown a bit of aggression with and without the ball, and they'll be disappointed not to take at least one of their chances.
I think as well, Paul, Barry, like Celtic have had to readjust, haven't they? I think with the early injury to Greg Taylor, sometimes that can throw you off as well, your shape.
And it has a bit,
I know Juranovic
Yeah.
is a quality player, he's got lots of experience, but he's a right back. He's had to come on and play on the left-hand side for Greg Taylor, give the ball away, being a bit sloppy at times. So Celtic need to step it up in the second half. They need to start the second half like they did the first, and get their passing game going. It's been nothing like what we've seen Celtic pass the ball in that first half. And as I said, when you're saying you're delighted to get in at 1-0, it says something how strong Rangers were towards the end of that first half.
Well, they've been here at half time, Rangers, saying, do you want this season to dwindle away? Celtic could go 12 points clear. They've got 45 minutes to go out and show at least what they showed the last 15 minutes of the first half to make sure they're still in with this title and they're still going to fight, but they've got a lot to do.
You both realise your prediction could be right, Barry. You said 2-1 for Rangers, and John, you also said a Celtic victory.
Yeah,
so it could go either way, couldn't it?
Could
Second
go either
half,
way.
yep.
These games are very difficult to call. The Rangers have got a strong team that they've stepped up in the second half of the second bit of the first half, and Celtic haven't really been at their best. They've been far from their best.
Second half is next.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland.
Let's go!
Half time in the big game in the Old Firm derby. Rangers 0, Celtic 1. Dyson Maeda, the Japanese international, scoring in 5 minutes. So we're going to take some calls after the game. Wonder what's going to happen in the next 45-50 minutes of the game. John Hartson's here with a cup of tea. Barry Ferguson as well. Had a coffee earlier. I think we're okay. I don't think we need anything, do we? Do we need?
No. Listen, I was happy enough the way that Rangers finished the last 15 minutes. I don't think he'll make any changes. I think he'll give it another 10 or 15 minutes to see if Rangers come out and continue what they done in the last part of the first half. So I'm expecting Rangers to come out of traps. They know that it wasn't good enough the first 25 or 30 minutes, but at least they grew into the game. They've had a couple of opportunities, and now they need to continue this and kick on now.
John, Celtic won up, but we've spoken about the way that Rangers looked better towards the end, had chances. What does Ange Postecoglou say to the players? Does he change personnel just now, or
got to be better in terms of the passing? The passing's got to be better. There's got to be more angles. There's got to be more options for when the Celtic players have the ball. And for me, sometimes it's if Celtic win 1-0, it's the 3 points, but. Celtic can play a lot better than what they did in that first half. That'll be the disappointing thing for Ange. How they've looked a bit nervy at times, a little bit sloppy in possession, give the ball away. Saying that, Kyogo had a good chance. Maeda played it across the 6-yard box where Forrest and Kyogo were on their heels. They started off really well, and then towards the end of the first half, it was just a little bit worrying how Celtic were giving the ball away so sloppy. Joe Hart makes a really poor mistake, which allows Rangers in. It takes a really good save to stop Kent. But the encouraging thing is as well. You look at the bench. You got Jota, you got Giakoumakis, you got Abada. You've got Moy, you've got these players that Ange can call upon if he wants to make changes.
And he likes a triple sub, doesn't he?
Does.
Maybe after an hour.
We definitely know within 10-15 minutes there'll be 3 or 4 different players on for Celtic, and that might just give them that little bit of freshness they need.
Right, we'll watch out for that. Listen in. John Hartson will tell us what he think if Celtic will make changes in the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. And for Rangers, Barry, you don't see change in personnel just now.
No, but Paul, they keep showing a replay of that goal, and it gets worse every time I watch it. 3 clear mistakes, and you can't do that against a good team like Celtic. But I don't expect Michael Beale to make any changes. I think he'll be happy enough with the way the first half ended, in terms of Rangers being a bit more aggressive with and without the ball. A couple of good opportunities that Morelos will be disappointed that he never hit the target. So Rangers need to make sure they start the second half the way they finished the first half.
Just watching to see if there's any changes at half time. We don't expect it, but you never know. Barry, would you agree that Greg Taylor going off, although it's Juranovic coming on, it's not his natural position? Celtic have lost something, a bit of rhythm.
Yeah, Bill, he's not just been a good player for Celtic this season, he also gives them balance. The left pegger in the left back area. Juranovic, listen, we all know how good a right back he is. We know he's played there before, but he's naturally out of position, and that's why I was surprised that he never put on Bernabe, yep, who's a natural left back. But listen, Juranovic has got the experience of Old Firm games, so that's maybe the reason why Postecoglou made that decision.
The cameras are on Dyson. Maeda, who came on, takes a little bow there, respectful as he comes onto that pitch that you've both played on so many times. John, what are you thinking as Rangers come out?
Well, I'm thinking Rangers finished the first half strongly. I think I just feel they'll want to continue that sort of pressure and keep in the ball like they did. From Celtic's point of view, it's no disaster, by the way. It's Ibrox. You're away from home. You're leading 1-0. You've got great players on the bench. I think with Ange, what he'll be disappointed about is that Celtic have not passed the ball anywhere near that we're accustomed to seeing them pass the ball. But saying that, Rangers have stopped them from passing the ball. So their press has been very, very good. They've been aggressive, and they've not allowed Celtic to settle and pass the ball like they normally do. So that's where Rangers deserve that little bit of credit.
As we get ready to start the second half, standing over the ball, it's Celtic who will now be playing right from left, and they start the second half. Just looking for any changes in formation. Barry spotted a change that Rangers made formation wise earlier on.
Yeah, he put Sakala on over the right hand side, clearly because he was obviously worried with Maeda's pace in the first 25 or 30 minutes. But to be fair to Tavernier, he did get close to him on a couple of occasions, and that's what you've got to do when you're playing against somebody who's got genuine pace. You need to get close and not allow them any space to turn. 60-40
possession for Celtic. Shots on target, Rangers 8 shots, not all on target, and Celtic 4 shots. Of course, that one on target from Dyson Maeda, as Rio Hatate plays it up over the halfway line, but it's picked up by Ben Davies, former Liverpool man who played most of the time at Preston. A tackle there on Glenn Kamara. It's going to be a free kick to Rangers. What a huge 45 minutes for Rangers when you think about it. 9 points in it, 12 if it stays this scoreline.
Well, I'd be in the dressing room saying this is 12 points now. We cannot allow it to go. We need to make sure it's at 6 points, so it's It's a massive 45 minutes for Rangers. And the positive side of it, Paul, the last 10 or 15 minutes, that's what I want to see Rangers go and be in the front foot and take the game to Celtic. And they need to continue this because, as I said, a massive 45 minutes.
Ball's played back to Alan McGregor. I'll ask John's thoughts in a moment as it comes forward to Sakala. Sakala 35 yards out, 30 yards out, 25 yards out, plays it to Ryan Kent, 1-on-1, tries a shot, great shot, goal for Rangers. Ryan Kent scores inside the box. 1-1 after 47 minutes.
It's a brilliant goal from Ryan Kent. Rangers have come out flying, as Barry said, like they had to do. But Johnson, for me, Alistair Johnson, knows or should know what Ryan Kent is great at. He should really know that he's got to stop him coming inside on that right foot. He doesn't do that. He doesn't get close enough to him. Sakala plays it to Kent. Kent, 1-on-1, just chops inside, and that's a brilliant finish. Brilliant finish, but I just think Johnson's got to look at that. He's got to do better. He's got to get closer. But it's take nothing away from the goal. It's a great finish.
Yeah, great long ball from Alan McGregor. Great first touch from Sakala. He drives at the Celtic defence, plays it wide to Ryan Kent. One touch, and that's what I want to see Ryan Kent do. That's an unbelievable finish. Now Rangers need to go and take confidence for this, because they're right back in the game, and it's a massive 42-43 minutes now.
Perfect start to the second half. That's what Michael Beale would have wanted.
And John, I was about to ask you, in the same way that Rangers would be saying, hey, 45 minutes to maybe rescue the season, maybe to give any chance, otherwise it's 12 points. But for Celtic, I heard Ange Postecoglou beforehand, absolutely, there's loads of games to go. But if Celtic win today, it's over.
Well, no, it's not over, because, there's never any medals that are given out in January. So, there's another 2 Celtic Rangers games to go. We've seen Celtic slip up at St Mirren. The 12 points is a huge gap. But, from Rangers' point of view, if it becomes 6, they'll feel they're right back in the Championship.
Rangers won, Celtic won, 48.5 minutes gone. Some game here in Prospect at Ibrox. It's on Sky Sports, and we're watching and listening, and we've got John Hartson and Barry Ferguson, who've played so many.
Look, Rangers derbies. Are 5-10 yards further up the pitch. They're close to the Celtic players. They're harassing them. That's what they had to do at the start of the game. But they've got this back. They've got to take confidence now from this. And Sakala started the second half really well as well. Juranovic is a yard or 2 off him.
So Barry, you feel your 2-1 scoreline could be true. And John, you still think Celtic could come back and take the lead again and win?
Paul, I think any team could win it from you. Paul, I think Rangers have come out in the second half with a real purpose. They're pushing Celtic back even now. They're passing it around well. Celtic are looking at Rangers thinking, well, this is normally us. This is normally that. This is what we normally do to teams.
Here comes Rangers. It's Tavernier plays it to Sakala. He turns, checks, but he blasts it well.
He's been good today, Barry. Sakala. I think
he's done well.
Has been good.
He's done well. This is where we want to see Tavernier in the final third, driving into the box, plays a good ball into Sakala, takes a touch with his left. He'll be disappointed with that strike.
Way over the top there, but another chance for Rangers as the ball's played to Carter Vickers to Starfield.
What Rangers have done, they've took control of the game for the whistle. That's what they had to do. They're at home. They've got to remember that. They've got 50-odd thousand fans behind them, and now they're well back in the game. As
it's going to be a throw-in to Celtic right in the halfway line after 50 minutes.
It boils down to things like that. Sakala running back and a crunching tackle on Juranovic, and then you got Morelos being the nuisance. It just boils down to these little things that can turn a game.
And do you know what you do there, John? You get the fans. The fans are roaring. They love seeing a bit of aggression,
bit of meat.
A tackle like Sakala doing the dirty side of the game. That's what fans love to see. Listen, they love goals. Sure. But they also love to see fully committed players, and that's what Sakala's been today.
Another one.
Yep.
And there's Barris. Is it Lundstrom?
Lundstrom's going to be a throw-in to Celtic.
Because it gets the fit. You know what it's like. You get a roar.
Ryan Jack going to come on, Barry?
Yeah, it looks that way. Yep, because you need to gain a bit of control in the midfield. Saying that, the first 5 minutes, the midfield three have certainly started the game. But I can see Jack coming on for Tillman.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who, and I thought Tillman. Here he is, though, on the ball, the on loan player. Plays it out to the right.
This is what he wants. Grass in front of him, Sakala.
Sakala gets round Juranovic, but Starfelt puts in the tackle. Sakala goes down.
Oh, he's given a penalty.
No. Is that a penalty?
I'd need to see it again, Paul.
It didn't look like it initially, but we'll have to see it back. as Sakala. Here we go. John and Barry watching. It's Sakala. Starfelt comes in.
Yeah, he's got his back. That's a penalty.
Is that a penalty, John?
But Starfelt's caught his back leg. You see it here.
Is he? Yeah.
See it there? Like he's just dragged his back leg. It's a penalty for me. Starfelt doesn't need to go to ground there. He's slid in like a madman. There's really no need to tackle like that. He can almost sort of, let it go out to play, if you like. He's gone to ground and he's caught his back leg, and I feel that's a penalty.
Barry?
Yeah, and I'll go back before the penalty. This is what I want to see with Sakala. See, he needs to get grass in front of him, Paul. He's a real danger. Yeah. He needs to open the legs. And look, Starfelt's come across. It's pretty rash. Let's be honest.
It's going to be Tavernier.
It's a penalty.
Yep. James Tavernier, the Rangers captain. 52 minutes have come and gone. Rangers have started the second half better. Maida scoring for Celtic in 5, and then Ryan Kent in 47. So it's going to be Tavernier versus Hart. Here's James Tavernier. Takes that run up, shoots, and scores.
Great penalty, right in the top corner. And listen, Tavernier comes in for a bit of criticism defensively at times, but going forward, Paul, and listen, seeing pressure situations, he normally delivers 9 times out of 10. So a brilliant 7.5 minutes for Rangers, but there's still time to go. They need to make sure they keep controlling the game. But wait, listen, this is the start that you wanted for Rangers. Look at this penalty, right into the roof of the net. Great penalty for James Tavernier, and he's done that throughout his Rangers career, let's be honest.
Rangers have just turned the screw in the space of 3 or 4 minutes. They really, really have. And what Starfelt is doing there, going to ground in the penalty box, not certain of winning the ball. And it's a definite penalty. He takes Sakala's leg. There's no complaints. You just see the Sakala there. Starfelt's clipped his back leg, and it's a penalty.
Barry, you agree it was a penalty?
Yeah. Listen, I don't know why defenders go to ground now.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
There, I think you're better standing up. You're definitely better standing up to Sakala's run. And for a guy with the experience he's got, he needs to learn to stand on his feet. But as I said, great start for Rangers. That's what Michael Beale would have wanted. They've obviously gained confidence because they were on top the last 10 or 15 minutes of the game. And now the pressure's on Celtic to see how they react to going a goal down.
Stats change, as you know, these days, minute by minute. At the moment, there's 6 points in it. John, Celtic, everyone say, the best team in the land. Can they come back?
Rangers have stepped up today, haven't they? Yep. 10 minutes before half-time, they were the better team. They probably should have gone in drawing the game. They've come out with a real intent to go at Celtic. As Barry said, they've pushed 10, 15 metres up the pitch. They've not let Celtic out, and they've scored 2 good goals. One's a penalty, which I thought it was a penalty. And Starfelt doesn't need to go to ground. It's just schoolboy defending from Starfelt. There's just no need to go to ground. If you go to ground in your own penalty box, you've got to make sure you get the ball. Otherwise, you've just got a jockey.
Rangers 2, Celtic 1. It's the throw into Rangers, just 10 yards from.
They'll feel the energy off
line.
the fans as well. Ibrox is absolute jump now, Paul, and you've got to feed off that energy, and that's what the Rangers players will do. A bit composed as well. Keep the ball. Don't try and rush.
Lundstrom tries a shot, comes off Starfelt. He was from 35 yards.
See, the difference is, as I said, that they're first to every ball now.
Yeah, Rangers.
First half an hour of the game, Celtic were first to every ball. If not the first, certainly the second one. And that's what Rangers are doing. But they're moving the ball about quickly, trying to get it wide. He's been a real danger, Sakala, this second half.
Sure has. It's worked so far. Sakala, lovely flick into Tillman. He's got Hatate on him. Sakala's gone down, but it's still Tillman, edge of the box. Maida's there, falls to Hatate. The referee has stopped play. John beaten. John Hartson, are we going to see Celtic changes? 56 minutes gone.
I've definitely see changes. I think Giakoumakis will come on. Jota will definitely come on. Abada. You might see Moy come on. I just think in the last 15 minutes Celtic haven't played at all. It's been all Rangers. They've not got their passing game going. Now they look very disjointed. Celtic. Rangers look really, really on top.
If we ask
more, see, I'm looking at Rangers. I know they're saying, but even when Celtic have got possession, they're more compact, Paul. Celtic are finding it hard to play through them. I thought the first 25-30 minutes Rangers were a bit wide open and you're playing into Celtic's hands, but clearly Michael Beale's had a good 10-15 minute chat with them at half time, and listen, it looks to me if it's worked.
The Go Radio Football Show, it's Monday, January the 2nd. First game of this new year. At the moment, after 56 minutes, Rangers 2, Celtic 1. Celtic coming forward for the first time in the second half. Kyogo chasing down, but it's cleared by the goalkeeper, Alan McGregor, all the way to the other end to Carter Vickers.
They're not pressing, really, Rangers. They're allowing Celtic to have the ball, and when they come into a certain area, that's when the press happens. As I thought in the first 25 minutes, they were running out of position. As I said, Paul, when you play against Celtic, you've got to have a bit of discipline within that formation, and it's certainly that's what Rangers have got now in the second half.
So a disciplined performance by Rangers as Celtic come forward. Down the right, James Forrest plays it out to the right to Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly tries to cut inside, still in the ball. He's got it in his favoured left foot. Plays it back to Juranovic. Callum McGregor. McGregor to Hatate. Hatate. He's got Tillman there with him, but he gets round him. Hatate does well. Plays it into the box. Oh, looks for Maeda. Too much on it. Goes out of play. That was a chance, John, for Celtic.
It was a great chance. Brilliant play from Rio Hatate. He gets himself out of a hole in the corner and then he plays a good ball in. But again, Celtic players on their toes. They should be really gambling to get across the players then. And if they did, they'd have had a tap in. But great play from Hatate.
Here comes Callum McGregor, plays it through to Kyogo. Kyogo is too quick on the ball. Poor ball. You hear Barry saying disappointing from Kyogo. Is he going to get hooked and bring on Gigi?
Honest with you, I expect more for Kyogo. Yeah. I think that's just sloppy. Sloppy there. But again, listen, great play by Hatate, but Tillman, you can't allow Hatate, a player of that quality, that space and time to run into the box. Tillman's got to do better there.
Just looking at the Celtic bench there, I wonder if we will see changes soon. But Celtic now in possession again. Callum McGregor, the captain, turns. Morella's just having a nip at him. It's back to McGregor. Plays it forward, down the left. Maeda is there in a chase with Goldson. Goldson just goes for it. Maeda goes into the hoardings. It's going to be a goal kick to Rangers. 58.5 minutes gone. Yep, so Celtic were 1 up at half time. Maeda. Rangers scoring twice in 5 minutes. Ryan Kent, great strike. And then a penalty. James Tavernier converting. Starfelt had clipped Sakala, tackled on the ground.
We spoke about Rangers' desire and attitude to try and get back in the game. That is what Ange will be looking at now. Though almost the tables have flipped. Rangers have got the lead. They'll be confident now receiving the ball. They'll all want a piece of it now.
Do they want it more, John, do you think?
I don't know, wanting it more, but
needing it maybe.
I just thought that they turned the screw, and even 10 minutes before half time, they looked the better team.
Abada's going to come on, but slack play by Celtic coming out of defence, and here is Malik Tillman, plays it in. Rangers win a corner. Celtic again slack.
Pass, but to be fair to Tillman, he's read it really well. He's been on the front foot, driving into the box, and again, listen, this is what I want to see for Tillman. He's certainly got that in his locker, and he's came alive. Certainly in the second half, Tillman.
Could he win a full-time move to Rangers? Since we came back from the World Cup, Barry, he has been a big part of Rangers. 4 games, 4 wins.
There's no doubt his quality, Paul. He's got fantastic feet. He's a real good size for
what is he in the
midfield.
market? What are you doing?
I think it's £5 million.
Oh, is that what it is? Yeah.
Here comes Barisic, corner from the near side into the box, headed away. It's going to be another corner. Is it going to be a goal kick? Rangers claiming it, Celtic claiming it. Looks like it's going to be a goal kick.
When he's on his game, Tillman, he's brilliant to watch.
What do you like about him?
I just like he's risky in the final third. I think a lot of players pass the buck at times, but he'll go and he'll try and dribble with it. He'll try and open a defence up with a defence splitting pass. And here's Celtic, 2 players that I thought would have started for Celtic.
Abada is coming on, so is Aaron Moy. O'Reilly going off, and who else, John?
Possibly James Forrest. James Forrest for Abada on the right hand side.
What do you make of those changes, John?
Well, they're good. They're different, aren't they? James Forrest done okay in the game without being a real threat. Abada will come on, and Moy, who's actually not done a lot wrong for Celtic every time I've seen him play. But he took Matt O'Reilly off, and Moy's got the best part of half an hour now to make an impact.
And Moy's been terrific form, Barry, hasn't he, since the World Cup?
Yeah, the last 2 games, I've got to be honest with you, I was going between the Rangers Motherwell game and the Hibs Celtic game, and he was head and shoulders, let's be honest with you, above everybody on the pitch. A great strike and a penalty, and he'd have been disappointed not to play the day.
Of course, yeah. That's what you'd want, isn't it? Yeah. The ball comes up over the halfway line. It falls to Carl Starfelt. So it's Celtic. He plays it right to Cameron Carter-Vickers, everyone wearing the black armbands today, in memory of those who perished in the Ibrox disaster, and for Pelly, and for the former Celtic and St Mirren and Scotland striker Frank McGarvey, who died yesterday, just 66. Played in many of these games as well, scored 109 goals for Celtic. As Celtic come up over the halfway line, Rangers are 2-1 up, but it's a casual ball there, but it does fall for Aaron Moy. He plays it down the right. Lil Abada getting his first taste of the action right on the corner flag. He wins a throw-in. Good tackle by Ben Davies.
That's what Abada does. He stretches teams. So Rangers need to be aware of that. I'm sure Barisic will be aware of it. You know what's happened in previous games. He needs to make sure Abada doesn't get an inch. As the ball looked to go out of play, but it's still in play, comes into the Rangers box. It's cleared to Sakala. Sakala does well, gets away from Juranovic. Juranovic has not really got into this game, hasn't got his rhythm. The ball's gone out of play, and it's going to be a throw into Celtic. Sakala needs to be careful there, trying to referee the game. Yard out off it, Juranovic.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
All over the place.
I know he's playing in an odd position. He's predominantly a right back, but he certainly looks a yard off it. He came on for Greg Taylor midway through the first, in fact just after 20 minutes. As Celtic come forward, here's the captain Callum McGregor, plays it right footed out to Lil Abada, the Israeli international. Abada infield plays a 1-2. It's still Abada, edge of the box, goes for a cross come shot, comes off the head of a Rangers player. Tavernier, it's going to be a corner kick. I mentioned that a minute ago. You can't, similar to Maeda on the left side, Abada, you can't give him an inch. You have got to go and force him back the way. What Barisic is doing is allowing him to come into the box. You need to stop that at source. Australian international Aaron Moy's going to take this corner kick. Starfeld's up there as it comes into the box, into the 6-yard line. It's headed away. It's going to be another corner kick, John. This is Celtic's best spell.
Yeah, it is.
In the second half.
You just wonder now, though, with Kyogo being relatively quiet today to his standards, maybe Celtic need that bit more physicality if they're going to go forward and play into the front. Maybe time to bring Giakoumakis on. Moy into the box. It's bouncing about. Still there. Shot for Celtic. Still bouncing about. It's come off some Rangers player. Finally, Connor Goldson plays the ball out. The manager can be stubborn, can't he? Not bringing on Giakoumakis, because Barry, you'd rather he stays on the bench.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I've said plenty of times I wasn't too sure of Giakoumakis when he came into Scotland, but I've got to be honest with you, I've been impressed with him. And he's a physical presence. He ruffles up defenders, and again, I keep going back to it. He does the hardest thing in football for me. Yep, scoring goals. Yep. Just watching here, we're seeing there's no VAR call. We've had no VAR so far. As Starfelt. Oh, there is a VAR. Yeah, it's come off the hands of Connor Goldson. Is this VAR? Yeah, I think. Do you know? I think because his arms are above. It's going to be a penalty. He's going to give a penalty here. In the 65th minute, John Beaton is speaking to Callum McGregor. I think he's saying he didn't see it. I'm not sure. I'm not a lip reader. No, of course. It's VAR, John. I was about to say there's been no VAR. We've just seen it. John, is that a penalty?
Goldson's as Barry just said, they're up in the air. Yep.
What's he saying? It's got to be a penalty.
Really? Oh.
Now, the way it's been...
I'll be honest with you, I think Rangers have got away with one there.
Yeah. We're not hearing the commentary, but, we saw the pictures... And Goldson's hands are up. It clearly came off his hands. That should have been a penalty to Celtic in 65 minutes.
See, pre-World Cup break, Paul. I think that would have been a penalty.
Think so? So what's changed?
I don't know whether, because some of the penalty decisions we've seen before the World Cup were, let's be honest with you, they were ridiculous. Yep.
Exec producer James just checking to see what they're saying there. But John, that should have been a penalty for Celtic. So Rangers 2-1 up. We're in the 66th minute. The Rangers player is down. Is it Ryan Kent?
Lundstrom.
Is it Lundstrom? Sorry, yeah, it is indeed. See his face now.
He's been good today, Lundstrom. That's what I want to see with him. He's been get about the pitch. He's a big player for Rangers when he's on his game, Lundstrom.
Sure is. Game's got everything, hasn't it? Apart from a certain point of view, another Celtic goal. Obviously 2-1 Rangers. There's a VAR controversy. We're going to see it again. Here it comes. The guys are watching it. Yep, strike there. Comes off.
It's handball.
It is.
It's handball. His arms are in unnatural position. The ball strikes his arm. Us three thinking, so does the producer, it's a penalty. Probably even the Rangers fans sitting at home thinking that's a penalty. Why isn't it given?
Yep, Willie Collum, isn't it, who's on the VAR official today, and John Beaton, the match referee. Right, 66 minutes have come and gone. Rangers winning by 2-1 in the derby. Barisic, ball into the box. Too much on it. It falls for Tavernier. Tavernier just outside the box. He's got Maeda with him. Plays it infield to Malik Tillman. Good play there good tenacity by Maeda. Celtic, the ball's going to play. It's going to be a throw in to Rangers. Barry, what are you thinking just now? Rangers under pressure, as you would expect when they go 2-1 up. Celtic are going to give it everything.
You expect a response, and that's what Celtic gave there for a minute or two, and then we've got the controversy, the penalty. If it struck his hand, look, I've seen it a couple of times, and if it has struck his hand, it's a penalty because his hands are in an unnatural position. But Rangers need to settle down again. What they done the first 10 minutes of the game, they took control of it, passing it about, and Ryan Kent, clearly this goal gave him confidence.
Well, he's back there, isn't he? He does well, turns, checks, loses the ball eventually to Aaron Moy. Aaron Moy, one of the Celtic stars of the past few months, just before and after the World Cup. The ball played forward. Lundstrom does well. He's identified
that early, John Lundstrom.
So Kamara fires it forward all the way for Tillman, but it goes into the arms of the former England international goalkeeper Joe Hart. 75 caps for England. Standout for Celtic last season when Celtic won the title. The defending champions start the day 9 points ahead of Rangers. It's do or die for Rangers today. Rangers have to win this game, which will cut it to 6 points. And could be game on for them. And for Celtic, still 6 point lead is what it would be. But look, let's find out what's happening. John Hartson.
Yeah, Rangers just dropping back slightly, allowing Celtic to have the ball now. But it's what Celtic do with it that's really going to make a difference. Kyogo's still on. Here's Giacomakis on the bench. I have no doubt he'll come on. It's just a case of when, whether he gives him 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Kyogo's done a lot of work. He's done a lot of running. You know, he's changed Forrest for Abada. Moyes come on. Riley didn't really make an impact in the game. Didn't affect the game at all. It's just whether or not he changes it through the middle and puts Giacomakis on for Kyogo. By the way, Kyogo is more than capable of scoring a goal. But I just think Celtic need that bit of physicality, and Giacomakis gives you that.
As Celtic come up over the halfway line, Starfelt plays it to Aaron Moy. Moy, we've seen a fair bit of him in the last 10 minutes, plays it into Hatate. Hatate strikes it off a defender, but it's still in play. Callum McGregor tries a shot.
It's on the claim. Shouts there for handball,
but this is football now, isn't it? Play the ball into the box.
He's going to have a look at it, I think.
It's come off a Rangers player. I can't see what happened, but Barry, this is the way you can play the game now.
It's going to VAR now.
John Beaton is going to go to VAR, as John Hartson told you. Rangers are 2-1 up, 69 minutes gone. Here it comes. Let's see it. It's Hatate off Goldson again. Yeah. So you don't think that's a penalty? Is there another incident? It's too fast.
The first one's not a penalty for me.
And the second one we couldn't see, could we?
Yeah. The second one is difficult to see, but the first one I think comes off Goldson's lower half, I think, more stomach, chest.
Interesting, the last one, the ref didn't even go to look at it. So John Beaton, no, it's going to be a corner kick to Celtic. Aaron Moy, corner kick into the box. Celtic lunge at the ball, but it's cleared. Well cleared. Ryan
Rangers
Kent.
On the break.
They are indeed. Fashion Sakala on this near side, up over the halfway line. Sakala puts too much on it, falls to Hatate. Hatate plays it forward to Moy. Moy to Juranovic. Juranovic back to Moy. Look at Aaron Moy, the Australian international, looking confident. Bundled off the ball there. Not much in it, but it's going to be a free kick to Celtic. So the captain taking the sting out there for Rangers. John, 20 minutes to go. Is it Giacomakis time? Oh, I can see Lundstrom's having a word with the ref. Has he got an injury, Barry?
A couple of games ago he got a sore one in the ribs. So it looks to me if he's had another bang on it, and it looks to me Ryan Jack's coming on for Lundstrom. It looks as if he's struggling, Paul.
John, what are you thinking as Ryan Jack comes on?
Well, I'm thinking Celtic are having, they just forced two corners there. They look a little bit better with the ball. They've just got to keep trying to probe, Paul, keep trying to create, and hopefully they can play themselves back into the game and get this equaliser.
Is there going to be a hero for Celtic, John?
Well, again, there's lots of decent players. There's players out there that are capable of being a hero today. But Rangers, in all fairness, they've come into the game in the second half. They turned the screw, and at this moment in time, they are the team that deserve to be in front. There's been a dodgy call for a penalty on Goldson. That's not been given. But we had a feeling that might come into play today. Anyway, I said I'd be amazed if there's not a big decision today.
Here come Rangers. It's Sakala. Sakala goes for the shot. It cannons off a Celtic player. Comes back to Malik Tillman. 35 yards out. He's tackled by Maeda. And Moy cleverly plays it out of defence. That was a real chance there, Barry, for Rangers.
Yeah, good chance. And Sakala again. Good drive into the box. Here, you just see it, Morelos with a good ball. Sakala's given Juranovic all sorts of problems. Comes inside, has a strike with his left foot, and I think it's Carter Vickers who blocks it. But Sakala, for me, has been brilliant for Rangers today.
Yes.
Still early, but he's a contender for man of the match.
Definitely, he's full of energy. That's what you get from him.
As Hatate is pulled down there by a late tackle by Tillman. It's going to be a free kick to Celtic. 72 minutes gone. No yellow cards at all, which is unusual. It's good to see, unless you feel, let's see this one again.
If that's not yellow, I don't know what is, honestly.
Referee John Beaton keeps it in his pocket. Right, 18 minutes to go. Rangers 2, 1 up in the derby. Old Firm derby 2023. Barry Ferguson, John Hartson played in so many of them. This one's tight. It's Moy into the box, looking for Carter Vickers. It comes off his head. It's going to be a goal kick. That was a poor one, John.
I think it's almost playing into Rangers' hands when you just lump it into the box like that.
Celtic don't have the height.
Celtic are better off getting it down, getting it wide, maybe trying to get Maeda to play these little, through the eye of a needle passes into the box. Players getting in front of defenders. I almost think with Davis and Goldson defensively, I think it's playing into Rangers' hands when he's just lumping the ball into the opposition box.
Barry, are you confident you'll hold on? 2-1 scoreline, that's what it is.
Celtic had a couple of corners there, and it looks to me if Rangers are defending for their lives, they've been really aggressive inside their own box, which has been an issue that Michael Beale's pointed out. But defensively, since Celtic scored that goal, they've been pretty solid and sound.
Just seeing a replay here. Starfelt and Sakala go out. It's a push on Sakala. So it's going to be a free kick to Rangers just inside the Celtic half, 15 yards in. Captain Tavernier just taking his time. He's in no rush. There's only, we've played 74 minutes, 16 minutes to go. There's Alfredo Morelos. The camera on him now, on Michael Beale. It's on Sky Sports. We're on the Go Radio Football Show with Macklin Motors. Will be on tomorrow night at 5. What we're going to talk about as the ball is played to the edge of the box, comes off the chest of Goldson, down to Kent to Glenn Kamara 25 yards out, just left, plays it out to Ryan Kent inside, have a pop, shouts Barry Ferguson, but Abada beats him. It's well played by McGregor and Moy. Are there options there? Celtic just not in the numbers that they were in the first half. There's nobody showing, John.
No, it just can't get out either. But partly to do with that, as I said in the first half, Rangers raise the tempo of their closing down. And sometimes when you close down, you get the ball, and that's why they're coming back into the game.
John, here comes your old club Celtic coming forward down the right. Lille, Abada. We saw him at the beginning, not too much in the last 10 minutes. There's Abada on the ball, plays it outright to Moy. Ball played in to Maeda. It's going to be corner kick. Really good defending by Tavernier. Takes a knock, but it's going to be a corner kick to Celtic.
Yeah, listen, this is totally unintentional. I think Maeda's gone up for the ball. I think Tavernier.
It's just two guys trying to go for a header.
It's a nasty head challenge. But
Can I just say, brilliant defending for Tavernier. As I say, a lot of people criticise his defending at times, but I don't think there was anything in the clash. It's two guys who Tavernier's trying to defend and Maeda's trying to get in the back post.
Going to be a sub. Is Scott Wright is going to come on. You see Scott Arfield behind, hoping that he'll come on, but there's a nosebleed there in that clash of heads. He'll be fine,
he's all right. Get a wee wipe and he's back on. Don't worry about him.
You still heading for a quiet night tonight, do you think, Barry? You were thinking of a quiet night?
It depends. I'll tell you.
Depends where.
I'll look at his face, John. Maybe wait and see. Maybe his eye, maybe his nose.
Ferguson household, maybe.
Exactly, yeah. And for John, who's going to stand up for Celtic? So, the Celtic fans will be disappointed in much of the performance, or is that fair?
No, I think you're right. I think there'll be. I don't want to keep going on about decisions and VAR because it gets boring, but you would love to see John Beaton come out and Beaton and say, well, why isn't that a penalty? Explain why, but
John,
Now
who's
we
coming
see
on?
Giakoumakis and Jota coming on, two players that could have easily have started. Listen, it's all with hindsight now, isn't it? You know, Celtic are 2-1 down with 15 minutes to go. But Ange, you know, he went with his team that thought could be competitive and win the game today. Still 15 minutes to go, but these two need to come on, and we know they both are capable of doing great things.
And the scorer, Dyson Maeda goes off for Jota, and the other Celtic player coming off, and obviously Giakoumakis, I should say, probably, and it's Rio Hatate as well. I mean, Ange Postecoglou is amazing, has been phenomenal. He is stubborn though, John, isn't he? There's only 14 minutes left for Giakoumakis. Anyway, let's see at the end. Maeda and Hatate off, Jota and Giakoumakis on. Rangers leading the derby by 2-1. 77 minutes have come and gone. Well, Scott Wright's still waiting to come on, Barry, for Rangers. So
Interesting to see who he's come on for.
There's no rush. And in fact, James Tavernier's still being treated.
He'll be fine. Just give him a bit of cotton up the nostril. He'll be fine.
Did they put anything on that just to cauterise it, or no?
No, I would suspect. Listen, he'll be fine.
Yeah,
he'll be fine.
Rangers captain
Took a brilliant bit of defending, but from him, great header.
So it's going to restart with the corner for Celtic. Seems a long time ago. It's about 3 minutes in that to be added. Of course, the blood, you can't have any blood, can you? Otherwise you can't get back on the pitch. So right, the game, no, it's facts.
Gave a foul.
They gave a free kick, which it wasn't a free kick.
Well, Maeda doesn't know anything about it. He goes for the ball, and unlucky for Tavernier, he turns his head and he takes one on the nose. But I don't see a free kick in there. But obviously the ref thought different.
78 minutes gone. Game is back underway as Celtic come out of defence, but they're forced to play because Rangers close them down.
I think Rangers set-up's been excellent in the second half. They've laid a bit deeper, but there's certain areas where they spring and go and close Celtic down. They're allowing the centre backs on the ball, but as soon as it comes into midfield areas, they're right against Celtic.
It's a decent tactic, and more than Juranovic, their poor ball comes off Malik Tillman.
Tillman, he's been good in the second half as well. He's doing again, as I mentioned, the dirty side, which you don't normally put Tillman with that, but he's having to do a job for the team, and he's doing it really well.
As Juranovic comes down the left, plays it to Jota. Jota, his first touch of the game, back to Juranovic. It's going to be a free kick. No, it's going to be offside.
Just edged offside. Juranovic and Jota. Nice play between the two of them.
Sure.
But Juranovic just goes offside.
John, Rangers managing the game well, aren't they? I mean, we're still waiting for Scott Wright to come on.
And they are. And to be fair, you can't say that Rangers Morelos going off for Scott Wright. Morelos has been a bit of a, he's been a thorn in Celtic's side again today. You probably feel he could have scored a goal in the last period of the first half. He had two good headers inside Celtic's 6-yard box. He failed to hit the target with both of them. So, but listen, he's played his part. He's played his part in what could be a really big result for Rangers if they can hang on here.
80 minutes have gone in the Old Firm derby. Rangers 2, Celtic 1. Paul Cooney with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson, and we'll take calls 08 08 17 17 700. We'll take the calls after the full time whistle. So Malik Tillman there in a tussle with Juranovic as we get more stats up. Most goals this season at this period of the game. Late in the game, Celtic 16, Rangers 12 in this period from 76 to 90 plus minutes.
Yes, this is where it's getting into, Paul. See the last 10 or so minutes. This is where Rangers' concentration has got to be spot on.
Because Celtic never give up, do they?
And you know they're going to keep coming at you. Even if they're not playing well, they're going to try and get that equaliser. But I think it's a good substitution by Michael Beale, putting Sakala through the middle. And a bit of legs with Scott Wright. And then Morelos looked if he was tired a wee bit. He's got obviously an injury issue. As we know, I think it's his hamstring. He's been carrying a sore hamstring for the last couple of weeks.
So, Rangers in possession just down below the main stand where the cameras are. Rangers coming down the right. Scott Wright, as you mentioned, chasing it all the way. It's going to be a goal kick to Celtic. Joe Hart, the first half was mainly for Celtic, but Joe Hart gave the Celtic fans an anxious moment when he was a bit casual clearing the ball and it cannoned off Morelos. It opened up for Ryan Kent. Brilliant strike from Kent and a wonderful save from the former England goalkeeper.
Yeah,
2-1 at the moment.
It was a great save.
John, look at Rangers hemming Celtic in at the moment. They can barely get out of defence, but they do now. As Callum McGregor, he's deep. He looks up, plays it out to the right. So it's Abada. Plays it back to Alistair Johnson. Baptism of fire for him. Yep. As the keeper plays it out with 8 minutes going, plus what will there be, 5-6 minutes maybe, as McGregor fires it forward to Jota. Jota, we haven't seen him yet.
Poor first touch again, Paul, from
What's
Jota.
that?
Poor first touch again.
It
was a great little. Was it Jota with a poor first touch?
Yep.
It's
very seldom again. He's only just come on, so listen, you can't.
That's his second touch.
Yep.
James Sands is going to come on for Rangers. We see Michael Beale there. My goodness, Barry. If and still time to go. If Rangers win 5 games, 5 wins for Mike Beale.
Yeah, but it's a dream start for him. Certainly, I expected the 4 games before this game for them to take maximum points, but this was a big test for Rangers. First half hour or so wasn't ideal, but they grew into the game, and in the second half I think they've been excellent, Rangers.
Carter Vickers there is bundled off the ball. Rangers coming forward through Scott Wright, but he runs into a ruck of Celtic defenders. It goes back to Joe Hart. Hart plays it forward to Starfelt. Slow out of defence though. Celtic, nobody really offering. It goes out right for Celtic. Played it back to Carter Vickers. Do you know what I mean, John? They're just slow out of. They're not getting much chance. They don't play the ball up the pitch. We know that. So and Rangers know it.
They'll build the play. That's what they always do. They always stay very patient, Celtic.
But that's down to Rangers' formation in the second half, Paul.
Sure.
They're very compact. They're not allowing any gaps where Celtic like to play through the lines, and Rangers ain't allowing that. Celtic,
of course, play right to the end, and they often score. Here is, and it's unusual, Kyogo and Giakoumakis on the ball, but they've lost out. It's Rangers coming forward. Ryan Kent up over the halfway line. Tillman's on his left. It goes to Tillman. Tillman a chance to get goal number 3.
Done well.
But good defensive play there by Cameron Carter Vickers. That was a real chance for Rangers. So Celtic now come forward end to end with only 6.5 minutes to go plus stoppage to Giakoumakis. His first touch really of the afternoon, but it's not a good one. And it's Ryan Jack who's come on for Rangers. Jack does well, plays it infield. Kamara to Tillman. Tillman tackled by Carter Vickers.
He looks absolutely shattered.
Tillman.
It broke down twice in the Rangers defensive third, and the strikers, you've got to get hold of the ball, you've got to do more, you've got to keep it. If it's played into you, you've got to get across your marker and keep the ball. Don't give it away there.
What's happened, John? Why are they not? Celtic normally look composed.
They've just, for me today, they've not been anywhere near their best. To go and win a football match. To me, they've not created enough. And I just think that Rangers, in the second half, they turned the screw and they've got the lead and they've managed the lead really, really well. But before the game today, I think a lot of Celtic supporters expected Celtic to play an awful lot better. And they needed to. They needed to at Ibrox because you knew what Rangers were going to throw at you.
It's all or nothing for Rangers today. Barry, there's going to be a substitution. You called
Tillman's
it.
Come off. He looked really tired there the last 2 or 3 minutes, Paul. But the second half, I think he's been excellent. He's ran himself into the ground. He couldn't really get into the game in the first half. But again, I think Michael Beale's just bringing James Sands on just to make it a more solid 3 in midfield, where you've got Sands, Jack and Kamara.
It's 2:15. It's a Monday, isn't it? Doesn't feel like it. January the 2nd. This, we said, was Judgment Day. It was definitely Judgment Day for Rangers. They're 2-1 up though at the moment as the ball comes forward. Rangers free kick falls for Aaron Moy, who clears it up towards the halfway line. Comes only to the head of James Tavernier. The ball just bobbing about inside the Celtic half. Carl Starfelt heads it away. It's like heading tennis. The ball comes off the head there of James Sands, all the way back then to Joe Hart. As he throws it out to Cameron Carter Vickers, Celtic trying to retain possession and force an equaliser against Rangers. Callum McGregor, arguably player of the year so far. Both John and Barry, I think, agreed before the game. Aaron Moy out to the left. Jota, is it just a poor ball, Barry? Do you think that to Jota it's gone out of play?
It was just in front of him, and the surface is zipping up off the surface. Unless it's played sort of directly to you, you can't play it 10 yards in front of a player and expect him to get onto it.
He's getting nothing, isn't he? He's not getting the right ball because Jota is somebody who could open up the Celtic defence, the Rangers defence. Throw in the Rangers captain, James Tavernier. Long one, 35 yards to the head of Scott Wright. Cal Starfelt plays it back to Joe Hart, comes out his goal, should comfortably play it. He does 50, 60 yards up over the halfway line, but Kyogo tries to get above Tavernier, but doesn't
be James
win it.
Sands,
So
yeah.
it is Kamara forward. Ryan Kent, edge of the box, slips it through for Kamara. Kamara, he's got CCV with him, and it's going to be a throw-in to Celtic, which they'll look to take quickly.
He's done really well as well today.
Kamara?
Glenn Kamara.
Yeah.
Yep. He's a
disciplined,
player.
isn't he?
He's a player that Michael Beale clearly likes. And as I said, I go back to it, 3 years ago, £50,000 for Dundee. It's a brilliant piece of business.
Finnish international player
Yeah,
as
and
well.
he's good.
Yeah.
Listen, he's a very good player. I think when he gets a real run of games, Paul, because he's pretty much in and out the team, but I think he's good enough to play with Rangers. No
Is there
doubt in my
another
mind
goal?
it.
Barry Ferguson, is there another goal coming?
Yeah, well, it's an old firm game, Paul.
Yeah, okay. John, another goal? Maybe?
Possibly. Let's have a look.
Let's see. Here we go. Go Radio Football Show. It's out to Jota. Jota, 1-1. He gets round Tavernier. Jota, can he get round another Rangers player? Slips it through to Moy. Moy, inside the box, plays it forward. Celtic player goes down. Chance for Celtic. Must be. It's a goal for Celtic. Kyogo. He's got his first goal in the Old Firm derby. 88 minutes gone. Rangers 2, Celtic 2. John
Great
Hartson.
finish. I know we were calling for Giakoumakis for Kyogo. Genius, really. And brings on Giakoumakis, but leaves Kyogo on also. Jota, good
Nice
play
ones.
into Maeda. It's a little bit scrappy. Maeda eventually gets the ball into the box. Giakoumakis as well is an handful, makes a nuisance of himself. And Kyogo with a good finish into the roof of the net. 2-2.
Barry Ferguson, we did say, is there another goal coming? Could have been either, and it's Celtic.
Yeah, it is a scrappy goal, no doubt about it. But it comes to Kyogo, who, let's be honest, I don't think he's been in the game.
No, he hasn't.
He's
He
not
hasn't.
been in the
He
game. But
hasn't.
then that for me, that's a sign of a good player. When you're having an off day, you're still in the right position at the right time, and it's a great finish into the roof of the net.
And I think what Ange has done, he brought on Giakoumakis, but not for Kyogo.
Kept the two of them.
Yeah, he kept the two of them, knowing that Kyogo was capable of a goal.
Could be another goal.
Yeah.
0808 17 17 700. What do Rangers do? Do they go for it? Do they stick at the 9 points, or
They've got to go for it, Paul.
they're smelling
Got
the
to-
6
yeah,
points?
They've got
Yep.
to go for it.
Down the left, Rangers coming forward. And what does Celtic do? Do they think they could just finish it off today? I know the manager and John Hartson says nothing is decided today. We know that, but 12 points would be massive. So much here. Go Radio Football Shows. Rangers come forward with Macklin Motors. Not Rangers, us. At this point, as the ball's played out to the right to Scott Wright. Wright looks up, plays it, fires it into the box, headed away by Starfelt.
Shoot, have a pop at
It's
goal.
a chance. Is that Sands
West,
on
he's
the
got
ball? He's on the ball
have
for
a pop
5
at goal,
seconds.
play it wide.
Yep.
Oh, it's a poor ball.
Abada
It's a
should have
poor-
played a better one for Giakoumakis.
Great recovery for Connor Golston there, but James Sands got
Dithered.
dwelling on the ball. Either have a pop at goal or play it wide. But to be fair to Connor Golston, he does well in the recovery.
John, what a chance there for Abada if the ball had been better.
If the ball had been better, yeah. Celtic broke really well. Sands disappointing, as Barry said. Just maybe have a strike at goal there. You're 20 yards out. But Celtic broke, and Golston did very, very well to get across.
Cameron Vickers was down there, but he's getting up. I was going to say that would be a worry for Celtic. One of their most consistent players, the USA international.
Yeah, I've got to be honest with you, I've been so impressed with Carter Vickers. His first season, the first 6 months, he done okay, but I thought the last half of the season he was an absolute rock, and he's been a rock again for Celtic this season. 7 minutes.
I was just about to ask you, how many minutes
7
do you
minutes.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be 7 the way the officials have officialed the game today, personally. But it is 7 minutes anyway.
As the ball goes out of play, it's going to be a throw in to Rangers. We're into injury time, so 6.5 minutes to go. This is life after the World Cup. Things have changed. It's true, isn't it?
Counted every second now,
Yeah,
aren't
there was certainly 3 minutes with Tavernier getting the nose knock, which was accidental. As Rangers clear the ball, goes out of play. Giakoumakis is on the deck, but it's, I think, going to be a throw in. There is the big striker who many people think will leave in January. The Celtic fans love him, and he's got a good strike record as well, John, hasn't he?
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Yep.
It's just the contract issue at this moment in time. I just hope that they can come to a conclusion so that they can keep him, because he's been extraordinary in terms of his goals per game since arriving.
Is there another goal in it? Quick question, Barry, what do you think?
I hope so for the blue side.
John?
I hope so for the green side.
Thank you for the great insight from you two. As we are a minute into it, so 6 to go. Here's Rangers coming forward. Wow.
Do you know what? He's been a real thorn in the Celtic side, Sakala. Today. Juranovic has struggled to cope with him there. He does brilliant, Paul. Plays a 1-2 there, and then obviously a wild strike at goal. But Sakala for me has been really impressive.
Would he be your manager at the match unless something happens in the next few months?
I would give it to Fashion Sakala.
Okay.
Just for the simple fact is he obviously got the second goal through the penalty. A rash mistake from Starfelt in my opinion, but I think, as I said, he's been a real thorn in the Celtic side. His pace and energy.
You're missing no play. It's going to be a goal kick to Rangers. 5 minutes left. John, who would be your player of the match?
Yeah, probably Sakala. I think Sakala's been really good. Kent, he's been a threat. Ryan Kent, of course, he scores a brilliant goal as well. So I think there's been some good performances. Rangers had to try and get something today. Okay, they needed to win, but again, when Rangers were so on top for long periods in the second half, Celtic have found the character to get back into the game and potentially take a point out of the game.
Are we in the land of the brave now? Who is going to go for it in the last 4 minutes? There's 4.5 minutes of stoppage time left. There's Jota. Good ball forward to Moy. Edge of the Rangers box. Moy forced out the box, plays it back to McGregor. Callum McGregor back to Jota. Jota, has he got some trickery? He plays it right to Juranovic. And Juranovic, who's been in poor form today, is caught again. And it's going to be a yellow card, first yellow card of the game. And it took 93 minutes. He's been off the boil, hasn't he, Juranovic? But let's keep our eyes and ears here on the Go Radio Football Show on the ball as we see a replay there. So, close up of John Beaton. There's going to be controversy about the VAR, but let's wait to see. Is there another goal in it? Connor Goldson, long ball down the right, looking for James Tavernier. Still running. Yep, he plays it right into the box. Headed away by Cameron Carter-Vickers, but it's picked up by Juranovic. Juranovic looks up, plays it, chips it forward. 30 yards forward, but it's out of play. It's going to be a throw-in, quickly taken by Connor Goldson. Goldson to James Sands, who partnered him for so much of the early part of the season because of injuries, to Ben Davis, John Souttar and others, as Ryan Kent. Good cultured ball just outside the box to Tavernier, but Tavernier plays it behind Ryan Jack. Here is Jota. Jota, can Jota do something? You hear Barry Ferguson saying you've got to foul him. Plays it forward to Giakoumakis, too much on it, and it's going to be a yellow card.
That's what I was talking about in the first half with Celtic's goal. Look, Jota is going to get away for Ryan Jack. Sometimes you've just got to take one for the team, Paul. Look, it's not ideal, it doesn't look great, but you've got to take a booking, and then you get yourself back into your shape again.
Ryan Jack. Who got the earlier one a few minutes ago? Was it Abada? No, am I hearing? There was a yellow card a few moments ago. Was it Starfelt
on Sands?
Okay. Thank you, John.
Did they not get booked for the
penalty? There you go.
There it is. Starfelt. Well done. Thank goodness John Hartson's paying attention. It's John Hartson, Barry Ferguson. You can speak to them just after the game. 0808 17 17 700. 2 minutes, 25 seconds to go in the derby. 2-2 at Ibrox. This wouldn't be enough for Rangers. It keeps it at 9 points. Rangers, for much of that second half, were 2-1 up, and it was a late goal there from Kyogo, who made it 2-2. But look, with these two, you never know what's going to happen. Late goals in the Old Firm derby, as it's Celtic coming forward to Giakoumakis, edge of the box.
Giakoumakis is good at
holding up the ball, edge of the box. He's there, he plays it back, but it's too much. It's a poor ball though, isn't it? And Rangers come forward. Scott Wright to Fashion Sakala. Kyogo just has a nip at him, but he stays on his feet, does well, plays it forward to Wright, and Carter-Vickers. Look at Carter-Vickers, the strength there in the Celtic player. Yep, Barry, he wanted it more, didn't he?
Yeah, look, listen, he was really aggressive there, no doubt about it.
Strong as
it's tough when you come up against a physical presence, but Scott Wright's got to get his body in front of the Carter-Vickers and the ball.
He's got a chunk of the jersey as well there. A minute and 20 seconds to go. As it's going to be a free kick.
He keeps that Celtic defence together.
He does, doesn't he? John, does Celtic go for it, or what would you be saying?
They'd be going for it now. Joe Hart's going to launch one in. up to Giakoumakis. Can they get bodies in and around him, pick up second balls? Just don't get done on the counter attack now.
Yeah, it's long ball then, 50 yards forward, down the left. It's gone straight out of play. Wasted opportunity. It's going to be a throw in to Rangers. James Tavernier throws it back to Ben Davies. Giakoumakis tries to close him down, but he plays it out to the left to James Sands. Sands forward to Ryan Kent. Kent's done well as well, Barry, hasn't he? Ryan Kent today.
Yeah, he's done well. He's certainly, his form's picked up since Michael Beale's come in. And listen, Paul, brilliant finish. Sometimes when he takes it inside, he tends to come back again to try and beat him a second time. But one touch inside and a brilliant finish from Ryan Kent. And that's what you want to see from Ryan Kent. He's certainly got it in the locker, Paul.
22 seconds remaining at Ibrox. Rangers 2, Celtic 2. As Connor Goldson looks up, plays it forward to James Tavernier. Tavernier. Callum McGregor is there in front of him, but it's played out to Scott Wright. Falls to Jota. Good bit of play, but it comes off.
That's up.
Rangers player. Yeah, it's going to be a throw in. That's the 7 minutes have come and gone. That's it. Whistle's gone in the derby. Rangers 2, Celtic 2. John Hartson, what does that mean for Celtic, do you think?
Well, I think Celtic will be relatively happy with the draw, having come from behind. Rangers looked strong when they went 2-1 up, by the way. But overall, I think it stays 9 points, but I think Ange will be disappointed with the performance as a whole. I don't think Celtic played anywhere near like they can. They never passed the ball well enough. But they showed character to get themselves back in the game and come away with the draw. It was very, very important that they never lost today. Barry's going to give you a Rangers point of view, but I think Rangers will be disappointed that they never quite held on, having put themselves in a great position, held on to that 2-1 and obviously come away with the 3 points.
Barry Ferguson 2-2.
Yeah, Rangers will be disappointed. I thought, as I said, Paul, that the last 10 or 15 minutes of the first half, they certainly grew into the game, and I thought they controlled the vast majority of the second half. They were on the front foot. They were more aggressive in terms of their press. They'll be disappointed at the goal. It was scrappy. So overall, it's still 9 points, and it's still a tough ask for me to claw that nine points back. If it was 6 points, then it would have been a lot better. But I think Michael Beale would have stood at the touchline in the second half and thought to himself, well, do you know what, at least they've showed me something, showed a bit of fight, they showed real desire. And I thought there was some top performances. I thought Connor Goldson at the back was solid. I thought Glenn Kamara was good, but for me, Fashion Sakala was a real thorn in the Celtic side. So I think overall a point. I said they had to win the game, and it's still going to be a tough ask for them to get that 9 points back.
We'll ask John and Barry after the break. Standout players for Celtic. Not a vintage performance by them, but they fought back. They never say die, and ended up 2-2 at the end. So for Celtic, that's 13 games, 12 wins and 1 draw. And for Rangers, under Michael Beale, 4 wins and a share of the points.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, representing some of the biggest motoring manufacturers across Scotland.
Let's go! There's a new name for Toyota in Lanarkshire.
From one of the UK's biggest names in motor retail.
Macklin Motors Toyota is now open in Hamilton.
We're bringing you everything Toyota, backed by first-class service.
So come and view the stunning new Toyota range, all with up to 10 years warranty.
Including the Igo Cross and the new Yaris Cross compact SUV.
See our great choice of approved used Toyotas.
Our formidable range of commercial vehicles, including the Hilux.
Get expert servicing from our manufacturer-trained technicians.
And specialist advice from our Motability team.
Macklin Motors Toyota is open now
at Whistlebury Road, Hamilton.
There's a new name for Toyota in Lanarkshire.
From one of the UK's biggest names in motor retail.
Macklin Motors Toyota is now open in Hamilton.
We're bringing you everything Toyota, backed by first-class service.
So come and view the stunning new Toyota range, all with up to 10 years warranty.
Including the Igo Cross and the new Yaris Cross compact SUV.
See our great choice of approved used Toyotas.
Our formidable range of commercial vehicles, including the Hilux.
Get expert servicing from our manufacturer-trained technicians.
And specialist advice from our Motability team.
Macklin Motors Toyota is open now
at Whistlebury Road, Hamilton.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com, your local friendly experts for new and used cars.
Let's go!
Go Radio Football Show, January the 2nd. Paul Cooney here with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. Well, the talking has started, 2-2 at the end, but it's going to go in long into the night and tomorrow as well. Everyone's talking about the Connor Goldson, the handball, which referee John Beaton didn't go to VAR, Barry, and didn't give a penalty.
Yeah, well, I watched it a couple of times, Paul, and for me, Connor Goldson, hands are in an unnatural position, and if it strikes his hand there, I thought it was a penalty, and I think Rangers have got away with one there. I know that's going to be the talking point. I thought the second half, the Rangers' point of view, was really good in terms of the way they approached the game. But if you ask my honest opinion, Paul, strikes Connor Goldson's hand there, I thought straight away, yep, penalty.
There is a controversy there. We'll talk about how both teams played overall, and Celtic will be unhappy with some of the aspects. But John, what about that position there? We're looking at it again, Connor Goldson. I think it was hard to see the first time, but when we saw the replays, well, you called it.
Well, we said this before the game. We didn't want to be in this situation, right? But the problem is, it's clear and obvious. It's hit his arm. Natural, Paul. Natural, your arms are by your side. Unnatural is when your hands are up in the air. It's hit his hand. How on earth the penalty is not given, I will never ever know. So listen, I don't want to get myself. I've spoken about this before. We're all thinking in here it's a penalty. You know, where's John Beaton's position? You know, is his positioning right? All right, you can say he missed it, but then Willie Collum, who's in charge of the VAR, how many times do you have to see it? I'm not making excuses. Rangers were very good today, especially in the second half. They got the noses in front. You know, really, really good goal from Ryan Kent. And they'll probably feel aggrieved that they didn't hold on to win the game. But that decision to not give Celtic a penalty for a handball by Goldson is actually embarrassing. It really is embarrassing that officials cannot see that.
We're on the socials at Go Football Show. We're with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson, with me, Paul Cooney. Frank is on the socials saying, credit to Ange Postecoglou. He took off Hatate, arguably Celtic's best player, and he left on Kyogo, who was probably their weakest player until that point, John. And then it's Kyogo who gets the equaliser. Well,
that's what we said, didn't we? He was brave because he kept two strikers on, and Kyogo wasn't really... He didn't show his threat at all today. Nothing really went for him. He tried to run him behind. His touch with the ball was coming off him once or twice. He really, really wasn't in the game. But that's what Barry alluded to during the game. That's what good strikers do. They always put themselves in that position, and he gets the equaliser. So it was really brave from Ange to make that substitution, to put the two centre forwards, Giakoumakis and Kyogo, still on the pitch.
There's that goal there. John, as a Celtic legend, who were the better team today?
Celtic for half an hour in the first half. I thought and then in the second half, I thought Rangers pretty much controlled it. They got the penalty. I felt it was a penalty by Stafford. He doesn't have to tackle like that. And then Celtic Rangers got away with one with the penalty that should have been. But I think Rangers will be the more disappointment out of the two teams, because after getting themselves in front, they probably felt they should have head on.
Right, we'll hear what Callum McGregor is saying in a moment or two, and then we're back. 0808 17 17 700s.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com. Your local friendly experts for new and used cars. Let's go!
Go Radio Football Show, Paul Cooney with Barry Ferguson and John Hartson. We're just, going over the game. We see Dyson Maeda scoring in 5 minutes. Seems a long time ago. Terrific goal he took for Celtic. It was handed to him. Morella's just a stray pass. Goldson should have done better. So to Tavernier, Barry's point was Tavernier should have taken one for the team to stop him.
Yeah, you listen, there's three parts to it, Paul. Slag pass with Morelos. Maeda doesn't take the best of touches, so Tavernier has got a chance to clear the ball, or as I said, Paul, take one for the team. You foul him at source and make sure you get back in and you get organised for a free kick for Celtic. And then obviously Goldson as well could do a bit better. So I think in the first 30 minutes, up until I think it was 28 minutes when Joe Hart made that mistake, I think Rangers got a bit of confidence for that, and I think Michael Beale would have been happy enough getting in at half time. But I've got to give him credit. I thought their set up in the second half was excellent. They pressed Rangers really they pressed Celtic really well. Never gave them much time in the ball. And I thought overall Rangers dominated pretty much most of the second half. And then you look at Celtic's equaliser. It as a scrappy one from Rangers' point of view. A good finish by Kyogo, but I think the Rangers players will be sat inside that dressing room just now, badly disappointed that they never took the 3 points.
It probably feels like a defeat.
Yeah, I said, Paul, I thought Rangers had to win to make sure there was a title chase on. Look, 9 points, you never know in football, but you know the way that Celtic have been playing this season, there's been only one defeat. I think that's 17 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat in 20 games. It's a brilliant record. And I've got to be honest, I see Celtic dropping 9 points. I know there's 2 Old Firm games, very unlikely, but at least Rangers showed me something in the second half. They showed a real appetite, a real desire, a real togetherness, and I'm sure Michael Beale will be happy going forward, but he still knows that there does need to be some changes within that squad, a bit of personnel changes. There'll be some going, there'll be some coming in, but at least they showed Celtic that they've got a bit of fight in them.
0808 17 17 700. You can call Barry Ferguson and John Hartson, or come on the socials at Go Football Show. Jim's been on asking both of you first, John, should Aaron Moy have been on from the start?
Well, it's easy with hindsight, isn't it? You know, Hatate's been brilliant for Celtic. O'Reilly is a really good player. McGregor has to start. I actually felt before the game, now again, it's all with hindsight, you know, ifs, buts. I actually felt that after their performance at Hibs the other night, where they demoralised Hibs for long periods of the game, Hatate at right back, Moy in the middle of the park. Moy got himself a goal. Celtic's shape looked really good, and then obviously Alistair Johnson makes his debut. Greg Taylor gets injured. Juranovic comes in out of position, but he has played there before. Should Moy have started? It's easy to say now, isn't it? You know, Ange hasn't got a lot wrong. I just don't think Celtic were at their levels today, nowhere near it. They played in fits and starts. Yes, they did brilliantly well to get back into the game at 2-2, because it looked like at one stage Rangers were going to hold on. Celtic would have had no complaints other than the penalty shout, which we've alluded to. But what this has done, as Barry just said, I think Michael Beale will feel now that they will push Celtic now as you know, as far as they can. Rangers are capable of going up against Celtic. There's been a lot of talk about Celtic being the best team in Scotland, having the best players, having the best group. But Rangers, they defied all that logic today. Rangers were the better team for long periods of that game, and they'll feel aggrieved that they never held on for the win.
Barry, I wonder what Giovanni Van Bronckhorst is thinking about the last 5 games, 4 wins and almost winning against Celtic. They didn't, it was a draw. Do you feel for your old teammate?
Yeah, I don't like MD losing their job. But listen, the results weren't good enough, Paul, and Rangers made the decision. And looking at it now, I think it's been a good decision. That's 5 games, 13 points. They're coming up against the league leaders, the team that clearly are in top form. And apart from the first 25-30 minutes, I thought Rangers looked the part. I've seen Celtic play better, but I think that was down to Rangers. Certainly in the second half, the way they set up, they were more aggressive in their press. They held on to the ball a bit better. So overall, I'm sure inside that Rangers dressing room it'll be one of disappointment, because there was a chance there to claw back to 6 points. But there's a few positives, certainly from watching the game, to take out of that. And it's looking bright going forward with Michael Beale. It'll be an interesting January to see what sort of deals he can do. But I still believe that January is always a tough market, and the summer will be the start of a big rebuild.
Ryan Kent, do you think he might sign a new deal?
Yeah, I think he will sign a new deal. Yeah, I think he looks really happy. Look, before his form wasn't great, but one thing I will say about Ryan Kent was, Paul, he always gave 100%. There's always a few fingers pointed at certain players not giving enough. But one thing about Ryan Kent was he always gave everything on the pitch. Maybe his form wasn't great, but I'm seeing signs yet today. I thought today he had another real good game, and listen, his finish was brilliant to watch, and I do believe that Ryan Kent is in a happy place. Him and Michael Beale go back a long way, so that's the reason why I think that you could see Ryan Kent signing a new contract.
I can see on the socials a lot of people tuning into us now that the game has gone. They're totally listening to John Hartson and Barry Ferguson. Maeda scored in 5 minutes. Celtic looked to be on top. And then Greg Taylor went off in 20 minutes. Juranovic came on, obviously out of position, but you think it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But they lost a bit of momentum. Yeah. But then the crazy moment, and it changed after this. 28 minutes, John. Joe Hart should have cleared the ball. Took a bit too long, a second too long, and it comes off Morelos. What a chance for Ryan Kent. Beautiful strike. Hart saved it. Did it change a bit for you in the first half? Rangers then thought they got a bit of momentum.
Well, they got on top, mainly not because of that Joe Hart save.
No.
Mainly because they decided to get closer to Celtic and play with a little bit more aggression. They pushed further up the pitch. They didn't let Celtic settle into their game, play their football. They won more corners. They finished the half stronger. And then they might have felt a little bit aggrieved that they never got an equaliser during that 10-minute period before half-time. They come out in the second half. Michael Beale had said, continue where you left off. They were brilliant. First 10 minutes, all of a sudden, Celtic are 2-1 down. Rangers are crowded up. It's bouncing at Ibrox. And then from there, Rangers should have gone on and won the game. Celtic didn't really create very much. Obviously, I'm going to go and repeat about it.
Yeah.
The penalty decision is massive because at the time it makes it 2-2. But then Celtic showed that little bit of character, that little bit of weakness from Rangers where they didn't quite hold on to the lead. But for me today, I genuinely did feel that Rangers put in a good performance. I said before the game I couldn't see Celtic losing the game. But Rangers today have shown that they are right up for the fight, and they've still got a lot of determination in that team.
Yeah, those chances late in the first half. 2 chances for Morelos. 1-0 Celtic half time. And then you said it, guys, both of you, Rangers is doing it.
It was a big 10 minutes for Michael Beale and the Rangers team inside that dressing room.
And within 2 minutes,
he tweaked a couple of things. Yeah. He allowed the 2 Celtic centre backs to have the ball, but when the ball get played into midfield, the Rangers midfield was right up against their counterparts, and I thought Rangers looked apart in the second half. Great goal for Ryan Kent.
Yep.
And obviously Sakala, who I thought had a very good game, got the penalty. Starfelt, for me, with modern day football, when you're going out to close down a wide player to cross the ball in, for me you've got to stand on your feet. He slid in, and for me it's a penalty. And then when Rangers go 2-1 up, then I feel that Rangers can go on and win the game. But again, listen, you can never knock Celtic, even when they're not at their best. They kept plugging away, and listen, it was a scrappy goal for Rangers to lose. But overall, as I said, Paul, you've got to take as many positives, because the last time we played Celtic we got an absolute doing. It was men against boys, but today I seen some men out in that pitch for Rangers and some real good performances.
2-2 as opposed to 4-0. Right, Michael Beale has just been interviewed on Sky. He said there were 2 poor goals to give away. He felt Celtic's goals. He said he didn't want the halftime whistle to come. I felt we were on top. He said Rangers should have gone 3-1 up. Malik Tillman had a chance, but he didn't take it.
Yep.
Remember that one?
I think it was Kamara played them through. And to be fair to Carter Vickers, he's made a great recovery tackle. But sometimes when you see Tillman getting into that position, he normally puts it in the back of the net. So that's why I think he's disappointed in that. But I thought Rangers were real impressive, certainly in the second half, Paul.
He then said, saw a lot of good things in the game, a lot of commitment to the cause. We've only been together for a few weeks and we showed we can compete. John, and Rangers certainly did today.
Oh, they certainly competed. Yeah, maybe they'll feel aggrieved they never won the game. If they'd have been a little bit more nous defensively, it was a scrappy goal, the 2-2, then they could have run out winners, and what a result that would have been for them. The Rangers were the better team today. I felt Celtic played in fits and starts. They were nowhere near their best. They never got their passing game going. A lot of balls went astray. One or two of your big players that you really expected to control the game never happened for them. It was Rangers' day. Unfortunately for Celtic, they've come away from Ibrox with a point. They haven't been beat, so that's probably one of the only positives that's come out of the game for Celtic today.
He then said it's a cracking game for everyone. Started the game well, this is Michael Beale, but lost control and made mistakes and errors in passing. Who's on the line? Call 1. We'll tell you what Andrew's saying in a second or two. Good afternoon. Hello there. Not the calls coming in, but we won't go to that one just now because we're going to hear from Ange Postecoglou in a moment or two. Cracking game, Barry, overall for people watching it. We're obviously engrossed in it here, but
it was a cracking game for me the last 10 minutes of the first half and the second half. But one thing is you've seen a real commitment for the Rangers players, and that's been lacking in games previous against Celtic. Because Celtic have overran Rangers most of the time, and that's the thing that I'm sure would have pleased Michael Beale and the Rangers supporters at Ibrox today and watching on the TV.
Great, we'll tell you what Andrew's saying. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely.
John?
I said I totally agree with Michael Beale. He didn't want half time to come, whereas I'm shouting for half time here. Celtic are desperate for half time to go in at 1-0 because Rangers, they really were on top, in the last few minutes of the first half.
Well, I'll tell you where did Ange start on that one there? I'm just checking. So that was Michael Beale there. I'll tell you what he said. Yeah. He said a cracking game for everyone. Yep. He said, started the game well. This is Ange Postecoglou a few seconds ago on Sky Sports. Celtic, he said, we started the game well, but lost control and made mistakes and errors in our passing. Difficult place to come to, and we handled it okay. John, you'd agree with that, wouldn't you? They lost that momentum. The passes were slack. They lost the
momentum, yeah. They were slack, and Ange has admitted it himself. And myself and Barry, we've seen Celtic play. You guys have seen Celtic play so much better. They seem to lose control. Rangers, in all fairness, they got on top, and they started to, they showed a little bit more aggressive in their press. And, as Michael Beale said there, they didn't want half time to come because they almost, it was a let-off for Celtic going in at 1-0 with certainly Morelos had 2 free headers in the 6-yard box. The marking had to be better. Luckily for Celtic, he never took advantage of it. But in the second half, Rangers came out of it. They flew out of the traps, and deservedly went 2-1 in front.
John, I'll come back to you in a minute and say who are the standout for Celtic. This is Ange Postecoglou. A few moments ago he said Ibrox, difficult place to come to, and we handled it okay. We tightened up in areas where we usually are free flowing.
Yeah, I've got to agree with him. Listen, every time I watch Celtic, they're free flowing, interchanging all over the pitch, full of energy. But again, I think that comes down to the way that Rangers changed their setup midway through the first half, and certainly in the second half. When you don't give good players space and time, Paul, they're going to struggle, and that's what I thought Rangers certainly done in the second half. Because if you look back in previous Old Firm games, it's been all about Celtic. Celtic have dominated the game from start to finish. And listen, it was a big moment for Rangers today. They competed really well. And I thought certainly in the second half, that's the best I've seen Rangers in an Old Firm game for a number of years.
On Sky, we're seeing the Ryan Kent goal again. And John, that's the thing that Rangers fans haven't seen enough of, the way he cut inside, took the goal. Lovely strike.
It's a brilliantly taken goal, but if you're Alistair Johnson, you send him down the left side on his, I say, weaker foot. He's strong on his left side as well. But he's almost, he's cut inside on his favoured right foot. You know what he's going to do. He's going to try and bend it in that far corner beyond Joe Hart. And I just felt from a defensive point of view, it was too easy. I think Alistair Johnson should have done better, should have got closer. But listen, from Rangers' point of view, from Ryan Kent, he'll probably think that's a wonderful goal. And it is a wonderful piece of skill. But defensively, I think you've got to get closer there to stop that.
When you see Ryan Kent in the positions, more often than not, he takes that extra touch. But if you watch the goal, when the ball's played to him, one touch inside, and he unleashes an unstoppable shot past Joe Hart. And that's where, listen, his assists are pretty decent, but Ryan Kent should be a player looking in between 10 and 15 goals a season because he's got all the attributes.
Who were the top players, John, for you from a Celtic point of view? I'm just trying to think. Maeda?
I don't think there was that many. I think Maeda, for his goal and his work rate, I thought Cameron Carter-Vickers tried to keep it stable at the back. I think he put his head on many things that came into the box like he could. He tried to come out for the back. He tried to sort of stable the back four, if you like. Yep. Starfelt made a ridiculous challenge that led to Rangers' penalty when he brought down Sakala. He caught Sakala's trailing leg, if you can clearly see it. But other than that, I thought our midfield weren't up to the level that they'd expect from themselves. You know, these players have got high expectations. You know, a lot of what they normally are at in terms of their levels. And I don't think they reached them today. And ultimately, it could have cost them. But they showed great character to get back in the game. You can clearly see Sakala is trailing leg. His right leg, we're just watching the video here. What's his right leg? There, it's dragged across, and I think it's a penalty.
He knows himself, Starfelt. Watch his face here.
There.
Right, watching his face.
He knows right away he's got his hand up. But a guy with that experience, you can't go to ground.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go to ground.
Yep.
And again, listen, you're talking about performances. I thought Rangers overall, there was a lot of good performances as a team, as a unit. They were really good. I thought Connor Golson at the back, Glenn Kamara and Lundstrom. Tillman came into the game.
He impressed you today, didn't he?
Yeah, big time in the second half. But Sakala, for me, was a real threat all afternoon. And he gave Juranovic a tough afternoon.
And he justified his inclusion from the start.
Yeah, he was a surprise because I thought maybe if he would have put Tillman in that kind of right area and started with Ryan Jack. But listen, I was proved wrong. Michael Beale came up with the right team, and certainly Sakala. If he plays like that, he plays every single week, Paul.
Rangers fans will wonder, why didn't they produce this kind of performance earlier in the season? But they slipped up mainly at other grounds, didn't they, against the smaller teams? Okay, they did big time against Celtic.
That's down to attitude. Listen, if I always say this, see if Celtic and Rangers are on it, or 7 or 8 of their players are on it, Paul, they win every game.
That's why they're in the big bucks.
That's why both of them go head to head every single year. And I'm not being disrespectful to other teams. Listen, you get tough games away from home, but if your attitude's spot on, your commitment spot on, more often than not, you should be winning games. And Rangers have dropped too many points. St Johnstone away, 3 points. At home against Livingston, 2 points. And the last game before the World Cup break, 2 points at St Mirren. It wasn't good enough, and that's why the manager lost his job. But certainly there's been an upturn in form since Michael Beale's come in. 4 games previous to the game today, 12 points. Performances could be better, but I've seen signs again today, improvement. And I thought overall Rangers will be really disappointed they never took the 3 points.
John Hartson, we're just seeing that moment where Rio Hatate, fantastic Celtic player, top scorer, hadn't scored against Rangers, and he has now. And to score with 2 minutes to go in regular time.
Well, he does what most strikers do, Kyogo. He's in the right place at the right time. You see it there, highlighted. And it falls nicely to him. It's a poor goal to give away, but it's a good finish because there's a lot of players on the line. McGregor's spreading himself as big as he can, and the only place really he can score is high in the net, you know, and he's lifted it, and it's a really nice finish. But again, that's what £6 million strikers give you, Paul. They give you them goal threat for 90 minutes.
John, what are you thinking then at the end of it today? 2-2.
Well, I'm thinking that I don't think Celtic fans should be getting too disillusioned by everything. You know, they're still 9 points clear with 18 games to go. They'll probably still have to lose 4 games where they got 20 goal advantage. So they'll know they want to get back on form. They've got a couple of games now coming up. So they need to get back to winning ways. It's a really difficult venue to go. Ibrox, credit to Rangers. They played exceptionally well today. They'll be disappointed they never saw it through and got the 3 points, which they desperately needed. But I think the positives for Rangers are Michael Beale will think he's got a team that have got a lot of heart, a lot of desire, a lot of fight in the team and quality. And from Celtic's point of view, Ange Postecoglou will know they can play a lot better than what they did today.
Just seeing that replay of the penalty incident, that's a great save by Connor Golson.
Yeah, Rangers got away with one, Paul. That's as best I could put it. I'm watching it again, and his arms or his hands are in an unnatural position. Clearly strikes him. But listen, loads of positives for Rangers to take out the game. The only negative was conceding that sloppy second goal, and the goal they conceded after 4 minutes. I'm sure Michael Beale will watch that back, and he won't be happy with that.
It won't change things though, Barry, will it? They need to
going to be tough,
January,
it's going to be tough to claw back the 9 points. I said that before. It was a must-win for me. So we just need to wait and see. It's going to be a big January for Rangers. I don't know if there'll be an influx of players, Paul, because you heard Michael Beale speak about it. He's not going to bring fillers in, and I love that quote. It's players that are going to come straight into the starting 11 and make Rangers stronger. So we'll wait and see what deals can be done in January.
Tomorrow night we'll be here from 5. We've got Mark Guidi who'll be with us, and Andy Walker, who obviously is there doing it on Sky this afternoon. The story of today, Dyson Maeda scoring for Celtic in 5 minutes. That's how it stood at half-time, 1-0 Celtic. And then Rangers, 2 goals, 1 in 47 minutes. Ryan Kent making it 1-1. And then a penalty. James Tavernier stepped up, 2-1 Rangers. And that's how it stayed until the 88th minute, when Kyogo, who had a quiet day by his standards, popped up and scored his goal for Celtic. So 2-2 at the end. Thanks to everyone. John, Barry, thanks so much.
Cheers, Paul. Thanks, Paul.
We'll see you, Barry, on Wednesday. John, later in the week or next week as well. Thanks so much. Some great music coming up next. And we're back tomorrow night. Go Radio Football Show at 5.
The Go Radio Football Show with MacklinMotors.com. Your local friendly experts for new and used cars.
Let's go! There's a new name for Toyota in Lanarkshire.
From one of the UK's biggest names in motor retail.
Macklin Motors Toyota is now open in Hamilton.
We're bringing you everything Toyota, backed by first-class service.
So come and view the stunning new Toyota range, all with up to 10 years warranty.
Including the Aygo Cross and the new Yaris Cross compact SUV.
See our great choice of approved used Toyotas.
Our formidable range of commercial vehicles, including the Hilux.
Get expert servicing from our manufacturer-trained technicians.
And specialist advice from our Motability team.
Macklin Motors Toyota is open now.
At Whistlebury Road.